my lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, ha, not likely. I be taking shots, yeah, cold-blooded, icy. Watching numbers grow is what I call sightseeing. In the front row, run it up when they hype me. The following grows, they know how to ignite me. Call me CEO, I've been running right, see. And I ain't playing games, I create my own lane, making pleasure out of pain, turning losses into gains. I'm the boss, I'm making change. I've been rocking this exchange, popping off and risking things. Gonna make a f***ing name. I just wanna be famous, but I don't want that cheap fame. No, I'm not that vain. I just wanna be greatness. 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 Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste me, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate me, you know where to find me. And if you're going hate this, you can fucking bite me. Okay, I'm going off every chance I get. I don't really take a loss, well, I'll admit. That's why I'll make it to the top, yeah, I commit. And no, I'm never getting lost, I get after it. Investing in my own stock, cause it's faster than any crypto hits go, let me spend. Everything that you see is something I invent, and it's only a percent. I'm gonna take shots, if I miss all, forget it. I'll take a fat loss just to learn all that's in it. I'm taking snapshots, learning how to fall and get it. I'm getting back up, always stand tall, don't sweat it. I never back up, I don't miss a thing or regret it. I'm always learning, you could call me academic. I'm always working, never been apathetic. That energy is like a poison, needs some antiseptic. Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste me, you can try me. If you wanna hate bitch, you know where to find me. And if you're going hate bitch, you can fight me. Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste me, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate me, you know where to find me. And if you're going hate this, you can fucking bite me. No motherfucker in this world can do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough dreams. I push a mind to a limit where it needs to feed. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hates like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss. See, I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python, grab what I like real fast. Choke until I have everything I attack, everything that I lack, everything that I want, and I see matter of fact. Cause I'm my own worst enemy. Only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny. Deep up in my mind I manifest it. Every morning I wake up obsessed, and everything I do the best. And deep within my mind you know I'll always manifest it.
Hello and welcome to my Mind Over Your Matter. My name is Rick. Let's get this show started. Got my medicine all rolled up. And not only one, but I did two. They smell so good. I wish you guys could have smell-o-vision. I'm sorry for you. It's Friday. Welcome to the show. I already have everything all rolled up and ready to go. Got a whole bunch of news to review. A lot to review. And a lot of them is going to play with our emotions. It's going to play with our inner hate, because every time I watch these Democrats do crazy shit, it just builds more hate inside. And it's not good, right? It's not good holding that inside. So we're going to release it tonight. And we're not going to hold it inside anymore. And with that said, we're going to go straight to the news. We're going to start off with sad news and what happened in Georgia today with that explosion that possibly killed 19 individuals. This is a developing news story, and it's actually very sad. And I know these individuals are gone. They're no longer with us. They'll be lucky if they can find any pieces of their body anywhere, because this was a full-on explosion that happened at this facility earlier today. So let's take a look at the story. Give me 1 second to set it up. Here we go.
While in Tennessee, several people dead, more missing.
Actually, Tennessee, not Georgia, Tennessee.
This is about 60 miles from Nashville. Madison Scarpino is following this for us and joins us with an update now. Hi, Madison.
This explosion from miles away. Now, officials on the ground say they're still notifying the families of the people involved in this explosion. But again, we know multiple people are dead and several more still missing. Take a look at what investigators are dealing with right now. This is what is left of the explosives manufacturing building, now totally destroyed. Everything is burned to the ground, flames, smoke, debris everywhere. The building and whatever was inside is now rubble. Now, local officials say this all happened around 7:45 this morning at Accurate Energetic Systems in McEwen, Tennessee. According to the company's website, it develops, manufactures, and stores high-quality energetics and explosives, and their products are used for military purposes, but also things like demolitions, avalanche control, and aerospace. So the destroyed building was likely filled with explosives. The ATF, TBI, Homeland Security, and several other agencies are currently on the scene trying to figure out how and why this happened. Local officials say it will be a complicated, methodical investigation.
This is not going to be something that we're going to be a car wreck or something like that we're just going to clean up the debris and leave. We're going to probably be here for a few days.
And this is not the first explosion for the company. Back in 2014, another explosion on site left one person dead and 3 others injured. But Sandra, we are expecting another update from officials anytime now. So hopefully some more information for our viewers very soon.
Yeah, it seems like right now they're still in the gathering phase of the information. We'll be looking for any sort of press conference to be happening to get a further update on the situation. But Madison, you look at what this happened this morning, beginning of a Friday morning, taking so many people by surprise. But yes, we do hope to get more information soon. A final thought from you, Madison, as we do await more updates.
That's wild.
Yeah, I mean, this is
look at the cars, how they moved.
Tennessee, obviously
like,
very
these cars are blown
from,
up.
Where some shops
this
and restaurants might be. But again, we are seeing reports that people up to a dozen miles away or more felt this explosion. So that just goes to show how strong and powerful this was. And you guys saw the scene from that video. It's pretty devastating.
Yeah, they're
and
not
the fact
here.
that we know that several are missing. investigators, I'm sure, are very busy right now just gathering all the information they can as they try and find those remaining people.
Just devastating video.
Yeah,
and pictures
they're not
coming in.
there.
Our thoughts
Hello,
with
they're
all
dead.
those affected and those still missing as we await more updates.
Hey, Albie,
Madison,
what's
thank
up?
you.
Click
How you
here
doing,
to
Albie?
subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to
They're
catch our hottest
dead,
interviews.
Albie. They're dead. They're no longer with us. That's really sad, man. Let's keep it moving because I got a lot to go over. So let's just keep moving.
Welcome back, everyone, here to Live Now from Fox. I'm your host, Mike Page. Thanks again for joining us on this Friday edition. A live look right now at the White House. And we want to talk now about the shutdown showdown that continues. It has now entered the 10th day, and we are learning that massive federal worker layoffs have begun. The White House signaled the downsizing with a tweet from the OMB director, simply writing the reductions in force have begun. For more on who's getting laid off, the timing of all this, and the impact of the showdown, we want to go out right now to our next guest to help break it all down. From
They'll find a way to blame the Republicans.
Ken Thomas, great to have you on, Ken. And there was rumblings that this would happen, especially from President Trump himself, really saying that these layoffs would be happening. When did we start to get word here that this is indeed happening today?
Yeah, you're right. The administration has been telegraphing plans to do layoffs as part of this government shutdown. We learned earlier today around lunchtime that the administration was going to follow through with that, as you mentioned, through a posting on X by Russ Vought, the influential director of the Office of Management and Budget. We still don't know what these numbers look like. We have been told that it will be a substantial number of federal employees. A White House official told us it would be in the thousands. And we are still trying to find out, which agencies will be affected. We know that it's going to be across the federal government. So agencies like Health and Human Services, the Department of Education, EPA, among other agencies. We do expect to hear from the president later today. He does have an event at the White House, so he certainly may take questions. He may talk about these cuts, but certainly this is one of the points of leverage that the administration had in trying to get the government reopened, and so they decided to use it today.
And Ken, is the thinking, if it goes deep into next week and on to several other weeks, that maybe each week there would be maybe a new tranche of layoffs? Is that something that could happen?
We don't know yet how these layoffs may be sequenced, but this is certainly viewed as a way to inflict pain on Democrats, make them reconsider. We've seen the administration take other steps. As you recall, they have withheld or frozen funding for transit projects in places like Chicago and New York, and energy projects in a number of Democratic-leaning states. Certainly those funds that they're withholding in New York City are aimed at Chuck Schumer, the Senate Democratic leader, and Hakeem Jeffries, the House Democratic leader. Those are two very important figures in these talks in this effort to get the government reopened. But now I think they feel like firing some of these federal workers may send a message that Democrats need to come to the table.
Yeah, and we're also seeing Republicans really put more pressure on the Democrats in other ways, too, on messaging. We heard that the Republicans saying that Democrats may not want the shutdown to end before next Saturday, which is the No Kings National Protest. Is there any truth to that? And would Democrats hope to maybe use that to their advantage if it did come to that with the shutdown continuing?
It's not clear how that protest may factor in. I think, frankly, the more likely point of emphasis may be next Wednesday. That's when military service members and some federal workers will not get paid. And in the past, the lack of a paycheck for troops is often something that's been used to finally get negotiations restarted. I think next Wednesday is going to be a very important day to mark on your calendar. You know, perhaps that will be something that could shake loose these discussions and bring the two parties to the table.
And if they do not come to the table, we've already been seeing really union leaders coming out and trying to put pressure on the Republicans to try to get a deal done to get this back in line so that the shutdown ends. But if it doesn't, could we see maybe other federal employees starting to talk and really rally up in ways that are outside of the union?
That's hard to know. I mean, you know, the unions have a pretty strong relationship with federal employees. It's unclear if we might hear from, you know, some workers, you know, who oppose some of these efforts. I mean, the unions are going to be in court in San Francisco in a matter of hours, you know, trying to get a temporary restraining order on the cuts that the administration announced today. So the unions are very active in this space. I mean, I think that, you know, they simply want some kind of resolution to this. They want to get their employees, you know, back on the job, you know, so they can earn a paycheck. But, you know, I think really right now we're just seeing a ratcheting up of tactics. I think administration officials feel like this has gone on too long. You know, as you mentioned, we're 10 days into this, and, you know, we don't really see any clear resolution right now. You know, both chambers are expected to be out until early next week. So I think the thinking is that you need to try to shake up the status quo here.
Yes, no doubt about that. We will see just how it all shakes out, including what President Trump could be saying in about a half an hour there at the White House. Ken, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it from the Wall Street Journal.
All right, let's keep it
all right,
moving.
everyone, and take a look there. That is what had so many people talking this afternoon from Rust Vote, saying the rips have begun there.
All right, let's keep it moving, because I got a lot to go over. There's a lot of videos.
First up here at noon, developing news in New Britain. A family has identified a set of human remains discovered this week as a 12-year-old girl. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us here on Eyewitness News. I'm Caitlin Nuklo. We want to get right to that developing news. That young girl's remains were found in a container on Wednesday outside of an abandoned home on Clark Street. And that's where we find the reporter Dylan Fearon live. So, Dylan, what have you learned?
Well, Caitlin, the victim is 12-year-old Jacqueline Torres. Her father confirmed to Channel 3 this morning. And Jacqueline's father told us today that he hadn't seen or spoken to his daughter since at least January 29th, which was Jacqueline's 12th birthday. So her father told us this morning that he's tried to get a hold of her, tried to speak to her, tried to see her, but hadn't since at least January. So her father fears that Jacqueline may have been dead potentially for several months. Now, of course, police will have to confirm that, but investigators are working around the clock to piece everything together to determine a timeline leading up to Wednesday's discovery. Right now, the memorial outside the abandoned home where Jacqueline's remains were found is growing. And of course, neighbors and friends are shocked right now.
Because this was a small child. You don't do that to a child that's coming into this life and learning. Who knows if he's going to be a lawyer, a president. You know, you don't know what this child had in mind. Why take her life away like that? And then throw her away like you're garbage. You're not worth a dime. No, you don't do that to a human being.
And Caitlin, some more friends and family here right now playing music. Jacqueline's nickname was Mimi. You can see written on one of the wooden boards there, R.I.P. Mimi. Tio loves you. Her uncle loves her. Caitlin, right now we are waiting to hear back from the medical examiner's office as an autopsy on Jacqueline's remains are being conducted. We're also waiting for an update from the New Britain Police Department to see if
balloons are not going to be there.
Potentially multiple arrests in this case are made. We'll keep everybody updated on air and, of course, on the Channel 3 app. I'm your reporter live in New Britain today, Dylan Fearon, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
All right, Dylan, thank you. We'll keep following that.
That's crazy. That is crazy. That's very disturbing. But I tell you right now, those balloons are not making it past Sunday. We have a nor'easter coming up here. I do have a couple of stories about it, but before we go to that, actually, you know what? Let me see. Maybe we could go to the nor'easters, and then we'll save the other stories. We'll just bump them, bump it up. All right, so let's check out the weather. This nor'easter that's supposed to hit up here in the northeast.
Saturday pretty good. Sunday maybe a little less
not so much. Sunday might be a good day to go inside, start the new book, a new series, whatever you've been
cozy up.
Wait, yeah, it's time.
It's time.
We haven't
Fall mode
needed
activated.
We haven't needed to cozy up lately. It's been in the 80s, of course, a little cooler now, but it's really the nor'easter that's going to be impacting us Sunday and Monday. So heavy rain comes into view by the second half of the day Sunday. Likely by dinner time, we'll be seeing our first wave of rain and our first wave of gusty conditions. Lingering coastal impacts stick around until Tuesday. Monday's going to be the main day, though, when we see impacts from this all day long on Monday. So that's the time that you're going to want to start the new book. Make sure you're inside. Everything is secured outside of your house, mainly because of these 50-mile-per-hour winds. That's definitely enough to knock down and knock around a few tree branches and power lines. So the potential for a few power outages will be there as the system comes in. Also, coastal impacts, high surf, beach erosion, and just rough surf in general as these waves come in from this system, mainly Sunday into Monday. So Sunday, we're just getting things rolling. The ball starts to roll down the hill, and then it really gets going into Monday. So by Monday, some waves just off the coast could be up to 15 feet, even above that in spots. So we do have a coastal flood watch, mainly during high tide time. That's going to be 4 o'clock on Sunday, 5 o'clock in p.m. On Monday. So in the afternoon, in the evening, both Sunday and Monday, the evening high tides are going to cause the biggest threats. Minor coastal flooding will be possible. That does line the entire coast. It goes from the North Shore. It goes to the Cape. The islands are included in that, along with most of southern New England. And we're also seeing the potential for the usual spots to have some road closures. Of course, avoid parking near the seawall if you are going to be out and about for parts of your Sunday or even Monday. So wind gusts, they're peaking as we go Sunday into Monday as well. 50 mile per hour, even above that in spots. If you're on the Cape, if you're along the shore of southern New England, you are going to likely see wind gusts at least to 50 miles per hour. So definitely very gusty conditions. That's where the isolated power outages
like a tropical
do
storm,
come into the picture.
winds.
Monday into Tuesday, we're winding things down. Tuesday, some lingering impacts will still be around. But in general, the rain isn't going to be the largest impact. It's just going to be another thing that comes with this system. So Sunday, a look at 11:30, definitely seeing that rain around by around 4, 5, 6 o'clock. Most of us are going to have scattered showers in the picture. At that point, the winds are coming in from the northeast, and we're officially starting to see this low pressure moving in and bringing its impacts with it. By 7 o'clock on Tuesday, starting to see things winding down, and really throughout the day Monday, you could see those periods of rain at any point throughout the day on Monday. So for the most part, around an inch of rain to 2 inches of rain for most as this does come in. Highest totals will be South
we need the
Shore
rain.
and Cape. Also, the islands could potentially even see over 2 inches of rain in spots. The further
We do
north you
need
go,
the
the
rain.
lower those rain totals look to be. So some locations only seeing about a half an inch of rain for parts of southern New Hampshire. This is going to be the largest impacts are going to be further south. The further north you are, the less amount of rain and the less amount of wind that you're going to see from the system. So temperatures as we head
You're
during
gonna get a lot
the
of
next few
rain.
hours going from upper
And a lot of
50s
wind.
and low 60s to the middle 40s overnight tonight and into early tomorrow. And tomorrow, 67 degrees,
Oh,
another
nice.
one with sunshine.
That's
We're gaining
nice.
in a few clouds by tomorrow afternoon, but those cooler temperatures are back into the picture
It was 33
as we head into
this morning.
Sunday and also Monday. Sunday, 60 degrees, Monday, upper 50s, and those upper 50s will stay with us into Tuesday. By the end
Yeah,
of
that
next week,
sucks.
even with sunshine, we're still going to be in the upper 50s. So we don't see a big warming trend on this 10-day forecast, but those showers Sunday through Tuesday, and then it does look like a few showers coming in next Saturday.
All right. Well, let's keep it moving with the weather here.
From the northeast to the desert southwest, we are getting nailed with tropical rain and flash flood risks, not just today, but into the weekend. Parts of Arizona and Utah are looking at that rising flash flood threat level as leftovers from both Priscilla and our newest tropical system roll through. Joining us now from Phoenix, Arizona is Fox 10 meteorologist Crystal Ortiz. Crystal, great to see you, but boy, not so great to see that flash flood threat that you guys have on hand where you're at. How are you guys preparing?
Yeah, good to see you as well. Yeah, unfortunately, we do have that risk of flooding as we are looking at rounds of rain, as you just mentioned, due to both Priscilla as well as Raymond over the next several days. So far,
yeah, I got to cover the weather from both sides.
Mostly in that light to steady
Can't just
category.
do my
The
side.
valley got a soaking, that's for sure. And then this morning there were some
Do the other
steadier
side
storms that ended
too.
up picking up over an inch of rain in west portions of the Phoenix metro area. Now most of the rain is in northern Arizona, but we are prepping for what we expect to be the heaviest rain late this afternoon, overnight, and
that's going to
early
be a
tomorrow
lot of
morning.
rain
So we definitely have
going
more
down that way.
And how much more do you
That's
think that
flooding
you guys will
rain.
pick up by the time everything is said and done? Because again,
That's a
where
lot of
you're
rain.
at, like you guys, I think in Phoenix, right? Don't you only average like less than 10 inches of rain per year?
I hope it goes up to Nevada.
Yeah, that's right. If we get 7-8 inches, that's like a good year for us oftentimes. We ended up having an above average monsoon season due to one big storm at the very end of the season only a couple of weeks ago. That actually ended up flooding out, very serious flooding, and unfortunately some fatalities in a neighboring town just in one county over in the Globe, Miami area. In the valley, we picked up a few inches from that. So we are expecting similar rain totals, although spread out over a longer period of time.
It's going to rain over by Tyson.
The valley has seen about 1/4 of an inch to a little over an inch in the Phoenix metro area. An additional 1 to 2 inches possible for the valley. And then in our areas just to the north, east, and southeast of us, it could be more like 2 to 3 inches of rain in pockets that we are expecting from all of this tropical moisture.
Yeah, tons of tropical moisture, as you mentioned. It's why you guys have flood watches and flash flood warnings that are ongoing. Any specific concerns or any specific zones? I know that the washes tend to fill really quickly where you're at.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So with some of the heaviest rain that I'm expecting in the valley or in the Phoenix metro area between 9 o'clock tonight and about 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, I am worried about some of the different washes that we see on kind of the outskirts of the valley that tend to flood if we get a heavy enough thunderstorm. And then the other main spot that we're really watching around Arizona is that place I just mentioned, Globe, Miami, because they're still in full cleanup mode from the mess of flooding they had only 2 weeks ago. And they do look like they could be in one of the bullseye zones for heavy rain throughout tomorrow, especially if we get some of those stronger thunderstorms we're expecting in that area. The forecast is about 2 to 3 inches of additional rain that's possible, and unfortunately that is probably more than some of the creeks and rivers there can handle.
Absolutely. Fox 10 meteorologist Crystal Ortiz. Crystal, thank you so much for
Really
your
a lot of
perspective
rain.
and your insight. We
Gotta
really
be careful out
appreciate it.
there.
And best of luck in the days ahead.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
That's crazy. It could flood out there. You got to be careful. All right, let's keep it moving.
New Haven police make an arrest in the shooting death of a 15-year-old by the name of Caden Phillips, but they're not releasing the person's name because the shooter is only 13.
What?
NBC's Ken Houston is in the control room with more on this. Ken.
Well, hi there. And not only is this crime shocking, but so is the fact that the shooter is only 13 years old. Police say thanks to community involvement, they managed to catch the person responsible.
Caden Phillips, only 15 years old, still much to learn, much to see. But now he's gone. The Elm City's latest teen homicide victim.
This occurred on September 27th, 2025 at 1948 hours at 130 Bassett Street.
Police responded finding Phillips unresponsive. He died later at the hospital from a gunshot wound. Adding to this tragedy is the shooter's age.
We did make an arrest today of an individual who was 13 years old. All I can say is that the suspect and the victim knew each other and there might have been a conflict in the past.
Police are not releasing a lot of information about the case, such as what led to the shooting, because of a fairly new law involving anyone under the age of 15.
The warrants will be sealed. According to state law, he will be dealt with in juvenile court, so there's not much we can talk about it.
Following an investigation that included questioning nearly 100 kids, police arrested the 13-year-old today at a home, not at school.
It's deeply troubling that a 13-year-old shot a 15-year-old. Overall, the numbers are going down with violent crime in our city if something like this happens, and it is clear we have a lot more work to do.
And the charge in this case is murder, and Chief Jacobson says it's now up to the court to do the sentencing, which would include supervision and monitoring and the length of detention. Live in the control room this evening, Ken Houston, News 8.
All right, let's see what else we got here. Let's keep it moving.
We see people moving out there into the street where we're going to see a clash here with law enforcement because people are not allowed into the street. Back up. Back up. Everyone's got back up. Leave them alone.
Leave them alone.
What the hell?
Leave them alone.
What are you doing?
Who are you protecting?
Back off.
Who are you protecting? Back up. Back up. Who are you protecting?
Who are you protecting? What are they talking about?
Is he need arrested? Yeah. Take him into custody. You're under arrest.
Arresting a protester.
That's it. Under arrest. No, they're trying to hold her. Hold him.
Get back! Get back! Get back! Get back! Get back! Get back! Get back!
What the fuck is going on
Shoving us
here?
with their batons, shoving the press, arresting protesters.
You don't believe that?
What the hell are these people doing? No, they're crazy. What the fuck is this? Are you kidding me? 4 minutes. Damn, I got another 2 more minutes in this shit. Yo, what the? Yo, I'll be used. You seen this shit?
Police
Yo,
repeatedly
these people are
shoving us.
crazy. This Antifa stuff? They're gonna need to
Bring
go
us
more
back out of the
prisons.
way while they arrest protesters.
They need to build more prisons.
Seeing get your microphone.
You know, the whole world is watching you.
They're hitting us with sticks.
They're
These
hitting
are
us with
people.
sticks.
These are people. They are not harming you.
Oh, no, I
they were
cannot
not
listen to
attacking you. They were not breaking the law. They're trying to step across the road. You're attacking people.
Yeah, the people that didn't even be there.
Pulling back now.
The whole world is watching you.
Protesters stopping at the edge of the sidewalk, not entering the street.
Right here, Brian.
The whole world is
Look at this
watching
shit.
you. Right
You know what you do? You bring the buses, right?
watching
You come with like six, I would say about 6 buses, right? The long school buses. And then
Chance
you
of
start
the whole world is
arresting
watching
all
you
these people.
right here in Broadview.
You arrest them all. And then you build a temporary detention center to charge all these people that are here. And they're like, what are you going to charge us with? Well, you know, illegally protesting here. I mean, you could claim your freedom of speech, whatever bullshit, but illegal assembly is for one. Yeah, that's and then interfering with law enforcement, and a lot of people are gonna end up getting arrested for this. And this weekend is gonna be crazy because it's like the judge. I know the judge. Something with the judge that they put a hold for Chicago. Let me see if I have a story on that. I think the judge put a hold. But let me see. Yeah, here it is. I knew I put out a story. I'm fucking good. I'm so good. I just need more people to watch, but at least I have I'll be watching, so it only takes one, right? For one you build up. And here's the story. Let's check this out. This is crazy because a judge temporarily blocks National Guard from deployment in Illinois, which is Chicago, where they need to go, Illinois. But the judge there put a temporary block. So let's see what this is about, because these are getting crazy. That's why I rolled up 2 joints tonight. That's why I rolled up 2. I'm smoking 1. I got it right here. It's like halfway. Can barely see it, but it's halfway. And then I got the other one that wants to fly. Right here. I love the smell. I bought this new it's not new because I bought it before, but it's called Deep Blue I always fuck up their name. Deep Blue gas flower. Say that 5 times. You can't. Deep Blue gas flower. Motherfuckers. But it smells so good. And I rolled up 2 for tonight. For some kind of I actually rolled up 3 in total. So I got 1 in my mouth, and then I got 2 more here. 'Cause it's Friday, bitches, and it's time to smoke. It's Friday, bitches. Get your motherfucking smoke on. Yeah, so it's Friday. That's my little song, a little jingle for you guys. You could clip it and put it in shorts. I don't care. As long as it gains me subscribers, I'm down for it. But we had this issue where we're having this issue with the judge and in another state, which is Illinois. So let's check this out together, and then we'll talk about it.
Move on now to federal courts. They are split on President Trump ramping up his crime crackdown. Speaking of, a judge in Chicago has temporarily blocked National Guard operations, despite the fact that attacks on federal agents have become a daily occurrence there. In Portland, an appeals judge says there is no evidence of improper use of the National Guard, and an ICE facility faces nightly attacks. The president addressed the crackdown push in the cabinet meeting yesterday. Watch.
Antifa's out of control in Portland. I looked at crime numbers in Chicago. They're through the roof, and I have a governor who stands up every day and tells us how wonderful Chicago is. It's just a lie. We're going to Chicago. We're going to other cities. Many governors are asking us to, including Democrats are trying to ask. I don't know what the big problem is. If I were a Democrat governor, I'd be saying, whatever you can do to get crime down, I'll take anybody.
This is exactly what Pam Bondi is cracking down on, by the way. Fox News national correspondent Garrett Tenney is in Broadway, Illinois, with the very latest there. Hey, Garrett.
Yeah, Jill, good morning to you. We got another big crowd of protesters here outside the ICE processing facility here in Broadview. And what they're doing is they are lining along this road. This is where federal agents will go in and out of that facility. And this is where crowds have been blocking those cars up until about a week ago. You can see, though, now state police are out here, and they sent a message first thing this morning when they took down several protesters who ignored commands to stay out of the road. Only a handful of arrests so far today. As these protests continue, though, the Justice Department is appealing its case for deploying the National Guard to Chicago. So for now, the 200 Texas National Guard troops that are here in Illinois are just on standby. In her ruling, though, Judge April Perry, a Biden appointee, said this case came down to credibility and that the administration's portrayal of what's happening here does not line up with reality, pointing out that this week federal prosecutors dropped charges against 4 of the 5 individuals who allegedly resisted or assaulted officers during protests outside this facility. Despite that ruling, Border Patrol Commander Greg Bavino tells me this is just a temporary setback, and Operation Midway Blitz will not be slowing down.
These operations are going to continue. We've been up against temporary restraining orders back in Los Angeles, as you know, and we fully expect that here.
You'll remember a few weeks ago, DHS put up this fence surrounding the ICE facility after activists were blocking agents from getting in. Well, last night, a different federal judge ordered that fence needs to come down after the village of Broadview sued. Even without the guard, Commander Bavino tells me another contingent of federal officers were just sent out to Chicago to bolster their forces and especially to make sure they keep their federal agents safe as their teams go out and about and are facing this increase of threats of attacks on their officers. Julie?
Garrett Tenney, live in Illinois. Thank you very much.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Compartment.
Emily!
Me and my co-host Harris Faulkner and
Emily, we got to keep it moving, girl, because we got a lot to watch. What's this about?
And sparks flying last night during Virginia's governor debate as the Commonwealth's Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl-Sears and Democratic nominee Abigail Spanberger went head-to-head. Spanberger was pressed repeatedly over her endorsement of the embattled Democratic candidate for Virginia Attorney General, that's Jay Jones. That follows revelations of violent text messages he sent back in 2022. Watch here.
Were you aware of these messages before they were released publicly? And will you continue to endorse Jay Jones as the next Attorney General of Virginia? You have 60 seconds.
The comments that Jay Jones made are absolutely abhorrent. I denounced them when I learned of them, and I will denounce them every opportunity I get. As a mother, as a public servant, as a candidate for governor, I denounce them.
I didn't hear an answer there on the endorsement issue, so I want to just make sure. Will you continue to endorse Jay Jones to be the next Attorney General of Virginia? And were you aware of these text messages before they released?
So the public was unaware who had knowledge of these text messages for many hours. So voters now have the information, and it is up to voters to make an individual choice based on this information.
Do you still continue to endorse Jay Jones? 15 seconds, yes or no?
We are all running our individual races.
I just want to clarify, what you're saying is that as of now, you still endorse Jay Jones as Attorney General.
I'm saying as of now, it's up to every voter to make their own individual decision.
All right, let's bring in Yemi Egbo.
Oh, Lord.
She was staffed to the White House press office under Biden. She is founder of Podium Strategies. I don't know about you. I found it painful to listen to. I don't understand why strong women leaders of either party, but for example, Spanberger, she's not a shrinking violet. Why is she so reluctant to say Jay Jones is not qualified or shouldn't be the Attorney General?
Yeah, strong women shouldn't have to take the heat for the actions of weak men. She should definitely say that she does not support Jay Jones. She has led so well in this race against Winsome Sears, who has been an underwhelming candidate. And she is giving Winsome a new breath of fresh air and some wings here. Winsome has already ran multiple ads. One of her strongest moments in the debate for Winsome was this Jay Jones moment. And so I just think that Abigail Spanberger has got to cut the dead weight a little bit. And if Jay Jones doesn't drop out, because this man clearly has an ego to even run in the first place, if he doesn't drop out and she wins the race and he wins the race and they have to serve together, okay, well, you'll have to work out that awkwardness at the end. And honestly, he should be thankful to her. But I mean, you just got to cut it and move on because she has led really well in this race.
Yeah, let me show you the latest Virginia governor polling shows that Abigail Spanberger was at 52 and Winsome Earl-Sears at 42%. But, this gave Earl-Sears a little bit of some momentum to try to take advantage of it. But this is what I wondered. If Abigail Spanberger is that far ahead, what is the political cost to her? What do you think is in her mind? What is the calculation? Is this coming from somewhere else? Is the DNC or somebody saying you have to stick with this candidate and Jay Jones as an Attorney General, the chief law enforcement officer for the state?
I think Democrats overall are worried about the positions of attorney generals in different states. Attorney generals used to be subordinate to the office of the governor. And now I think in a Trump era, they hold just as much importance. And folks are seeing Letitia James and the way that she led in New York. And I think that they are wondering about the effectiveness of Abigail Spanberger as a governor if she has a Republican AG. And so I do think that folks secretly want Jay Jones to hold on, but openly, I just don't think this is something that folks can support. Shannon Taylor was running against him. She would have been wonderful as a candidate as well. I know folks are kicking themselves. They could go back in time, hindsight and all that. But if this man had the kind of ego to decide to run in the race in the first place, knowing those text messages were out there, I don't see how you get someone like that to drop out.
Well, not only that, but if he knew that he wrote them, he has apologized for writing them, but he has taken money from people saying, support me. He knew all of that, and he wasn't honest with the Democrats of Virginia. So that was one thing. One other point, we'll make it a little bit more fun. Katie Porter, she was a Democratic congresswoman. She had a reputation for being tough on staff. Now, there's been some videos that have come out that have not been great. This is a new one. To me, it's not as big as the others. Let's watch it here, the new one.
Bernard, I need you to turn these off. No, we should put the computer up on it. Yes,
She's
yes,
crazy.
we should have. Yes. Okay, everybody, I'm not that dark. It's too dark. Just a minute.
All right. So I mean, again, I don't think that is that bad. I mean, lighting is important, believe me. But the governor's race
She
right now
just
has
has
her
an
at
anger
17%. The next one down 10%. So she's got a little bit of a lead, but she also has a bit of a reputation and a question right now as to whether she has the temperament and the willingness even to take questions from a local TV anchor who is asking her follow-ups. How dare she ask her a follow-up? And again, we're talking about women who want to be strong leaders, but ending up in this kind of a situation.
Right. And I don't think in a workplace you always have to say please and thank you. And we both worked in the White House. We know that when things are under pressure, tempers can get hot. But I do think that Katie Porter shows her weakness in the fact that she can't answer a simple question, which is how will I represent and convince the people who do not believe in me to believe in me? And if a Democrat cannot do that now, at this time, I'm just not sure that they're the strongest person to run. Look, there are plenty of other great candidates. Xavier Becerra, who was the HHS secretary under Biden, is running as well. I think that the field is pretty long for this race, and you don't have to support Katie Porter if you don't want to. I just don't think somebody who avoids follow-up questions can show great leadership long term.
All right, yeah, Missy, you show great leadership. Thanks for coming on.
Thank
Great
you,
to see you.
Dana.
Take care.
Hey everyone,
Yeah,
I'm Emily
Emily,
Compagno. Catch me at
Emily. All right, let's keep it moving. Oh, the earthquake. There's been a lot of earthquakes been happening. Let's bring it back to me. Down in the Drake's Passage, that's in South America. There was a big earthquake, a 7.8 earthquake that hit that region, and there is tsunami warnings in effect for the western part of South America and that region of the world. It could radiate up northwards. It's just the earth is doing a lot of weird things. The energy is very height energy of all these people, anger and fighting, and the negativity is very strong, and the earth is picking up on it, and the earth is acting, and the sun has been acting too. And then you have the 3-eye atlas that's passing like near Mars, and it's like in that area, and the sun is interacting with it, and we keep getting solar flares hitting Earth. People can't handle the energy; it's getting too strong, and bigger and badder things are going to happen. Humanity thinks that like everything we're doing today, you think it's going to matter in 100 years? You really think maybe in 1,000 years, you think everything that we did today is going to matter? You'll be forgotten in 10 years after your death. Like, that's just how it is. They don't remember you when you die. You die, and that's it. And you get forgotten. And that's how it's always been. Unless you're a very, 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 very important person that they have you in history books and they constantly talk about you. Other than that, everyone else, you're forgotten. All right. Let's see here. Let's check out this earthquake. They left their bag. Oh, she felt it. They left their bags. That guy took the bag.
Uy! Uy!
Wow. Pretty strong earthquake.
Ang kurinti ba? Kurinti ba? Kurinti.
Karon gyud, just time. Wala nakatawag na sir. 911. Kuya, ha? Kasi nakatumba sa yabi? Padir. Ay padir. Nidagan gani siya sa gawas. Pero nagka-kastor siya. Wala. Unconscious. Ay.
Whoa, look at the fire truck.
7.0. Open. Bali. Masulod.
Wow.
Usog juga yung lino, grabe.
I've never experienced an earthquake, so it's like watching these people. I could feel their fear.
Ang lindol. Sus, magnitude 7.6.
Wow, that place got destroyed. Holy shit. Wow, that's a big boulder. Damn, it takes two. It's very heavy, that rock. Wow. That's just amazing. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right, let's see what else we got here. Let's check this out.
Speaking of, if you are a parent and you have a kid, you might have dealt with this: hand, foot, and mouth disease. It's horrible when your kids get it, and there seems to be an increase in cases. We're joined now by Kevin Stewart, who spoke to the experts and is here to tell us more. Kevin?
Yeah, there absolutely is a spike going on here. You know, it's something that makes a lot of people uncomfortable because it is pretty ugly and painful. I can tell you that we've already had more than 100 cases so far this year. And last year we only had 54. You know, there's no big explanation as to why we've had this big spike, but I can tell you that it does spread very easily through saliva and fecal matter. I had a chance to talk to a pediatrician here at Morehouse Medicine. She's also an assistant professor at Morehouse School of Medicine. She and other doctors here at this practice are already treating young people. I want you to take a listen.
Office has been treating several patients, my partners and myself. I myself had a patient who came in a very heavy load of the rash because it actually went over to the buttocks, and just a lot of lesions on the hand and feet, and they can be painful a little bit and very painful in the mouth. So when you come into your physician, your pediatrician, they're checking for signs of dehydration. How are they looking? Are they alert? Are they just really droopy? How's the fever going? And just trying to make sure that they're clinically stable. Now we have come back together, as I mentioned before, in group settings. So daycares are traditionally, because you go to daycare, but even in the schools, because this disease can be 5 years and under typically. And so kindergarten starts at 4 and 5. And if you have siblings, you can spread it through the family. We have parents that have actually contracted the disease from their own children, and sometimes it's a little hard on an adult system.
Yeah, and you heard her talk about the age group there. Usually what you see is children from 5 and under contract this disease, and the big spike, according to state data, happened in August and September, and of course we all know that's when everybody goes back to school, so that probably plays a big role in the spread. Overall, big picture, why we're seeing such a huge spread, that's still up for debate, but when you look at the timing of when this happened, you saw a big spike. It was right when school started. Tom?
Yeah, Kevin, and I'm just, you know, as you're talking and I'm listening to the doctor there, how to manage the symptoms of this disease, there's really nothing you can do. It's like getting a cold, except let it play out and resolve itself with like things like rest and hydration. Did she say anything else about treatment of hand, foot, and mouth?
You made a good point there because it is a viral illness. They don't want you to use antibiotics. You should basically kind of rest, dehydration. If you get a sore throat, you know, and a nice icy or something like that to cool the back of your mouth, your throat is really helpful. If things don't clear up in a few days, it's a good idea to come down to the doctor and see if there's anything else that you can do if you don't go in right away. But this really is one of those things that you have to just lay back, relax, and try to bear with this. And, you know, obviously, you know, stuff like this, when you have that rash, shouldn't play with it, shouldn't pick at it. That'll go away. The scar, the potential for scars can happen, obviously, if you pick at it, but definitely should not play with it and touch it, and you just have to be disciplined, relax, and just let it play out.
And as she said, hopefully as a parent you don't catch it, because it is just like a horrible condition to have. But good that you're bringing it to folks' attention. To just stay vigilant and watch your kids as the increase in hand, foot, and mouth disease affects our area. Kevin Stewart live for us. Thanks.
Yeah, that's crazy. Let's keep it moving. Holy shit. That's a strong earthquake. Look, it's still moving. Oh my god. Whoa, look at that. Look, it's still moving. Wow. Oh my goodness.
We have on October 10 morning, we have 97.4, and then Sa gabi, we have mag 6.8. So the same magnitudes. Again, ang term natin dito is doublet. They are distinct earthquakes.
Boy!
That's wild.
This is a distinct. This is not an aftershock. This is a distinct event. Again, ang tawag natin dito would be doublet. This means that these are two closely timed quakes happening nearby. So this is not the first time na nangyari po ito along the Philippine Trench.
Strong earthquakes, man. That's not good. Wow, that's scary. Let's keep it moving.
Well, New York Attorney General Letitia James has been indicted on charges of banking fraud and making false statements to a financial institution. James and her fellow Democrats say the prosecution is politically motivated, citing her 2020 lawsuit against President Trump. James released this video statement yesterday. Watch.
This is nothing more than a continuation of the president's desperate weaponization of our justice system. He is forcing federal law enforcement agencies to do his bidding.
She looks so
all
evil.
Because I did my job as the New York State Attorney General. These charges are baseless, and the president's own public statements make clear that his only goal is political retribution at any cost.
This is
Let's bring in
screaming
Paul
so
Morrow,
Hunger
attorney,
Games.
retired NYPD
Like
inspector
the
and Fox
acting
News
like Hunger
contributor.
Games.
Okay, so
Who talks
we
like that?
This doesn't surprise us that she would come out and say this, obviously, and that Democrats are going to use this
Who
as a
talks
political
like that?
talking point. But doesn't
Does
this
she
case
talk
have
to you
teeth?
like that if she's
It
like
does,
talking
and
to
I
you?
have to tell you that all you need to do is read the indictment to see that it does, because it's a very simple, plain-spoken indictment, which is crucial in a financial case. In financial cases, they can get very complicated. You could potentially lose the jury. This one doesn't have that. Now, to clear something up, the primary residence issue is not here. That was the initial allegation we all heard about from the power of attorney form. What it comes down to is the following. She signed the operative paperwork to get the loan, saying that the house in Virginia is going to be a second house, not an investment property, a second house for her to go to herself. She's not allowed to have somebody there renting it. Okay, that's how she gets the loan. She then takes her paperwork for her taxes and puts on her tax forms that it is an investment property, and in fact has write-offs relative to the investment property. So internally, it's inconsistent by her own paperwork. By getting the lower rate for a non-investment property, she saved about $19,000 to this point. That is the crux of the allegation.
Okay, and so here's a senator from Michigan, Alyssa Slotkin. This is what she told CNN on Thursday.
Just as part of a bigger trend of the President of the United States using the Department of Justice, using the legal system to go after political adversaries, using the arms of our democracy to go after political adversaries. It's just a broken way to do politics.
I wonder what you think about that, because nobody said that at the beginning when Letitia James went after Trump for the same thing.
Yeah, pretty rich when you consider the fact that that was her promise in coming into office as the Attorney General, that she was going to be using her office to go after Donald Trump, which is really not her remit as supposedly the top law enforcement officer in New York. And let's recognize something else. She also got through, it had to be for her sake, through Albany, a $10 million fund for anybody who has federal government coming after them for what they've done on the job and off the job, anybody that's been targeted. So she's saying she hasn't accessed that fund yet. $10 million. She's got a high-priced lawyer, Abby Lowell's. I have a feeling the citizens of New York are going to be paying for Abby Lowell's swimming pool. So that $10 million is sitting there waiting for her to access it. The legislature put it through. The governor, Kathy Hochul, signed off on it. But here's the thing. The stakes for her are very high here because they're not going to plead this out. And if she gets convicted on a felony, which this is, she loses her law license and she has to step down. Essentially, she's going to be unemployable in public life in New York.
I want to go down to Jersey really quickly here. We've got this crazy governor's race. It's getting very, very heated, and there was a big debate last night. Jack Ciattarelli says he's going to sue his opponent, Mikey Sherrill, over this comment. Let's listen.
What New Jersey doesn't know is much about his business, how he made his millions, by working with some of the worst offenders and saying that opioids were safe, putting out propaganda. Tens of thousands of New Jerseyans died. And as if that wasn't enough, then he was paid to develop an app so that people who were addicted could more easily get access to opioids. And so as he made millions, as these opioid companies made billions, tens of thousands of New Jerseyans died.
Okay, so that debate happened Wednesday night. I mean, there's always personal attacks. There's always things that people say that are vastly incorrect about their opponent. What makes this different?
So to tease this out, essentially what happens is the following. He has a publishing company. They publish medical stuff. A University of Tennessee study gets published through his publishing company. They controlled, that is the University of Tennessee, controlled all the editorial content. And this is going to come down to one of these things. What does the language exactly say? What did she exactly say, et cetera? The crux of it is the pharmaceutical companies underwrote, paid for some of the study, some of the publication, which is apparently very common in this field. Here's the issue. So my estimation, that is very close to the line. If nothing else, it's really icky. All right, because, you know, she's essentially saying you're a murderer. The thing is this, he's a public figure, and a defamation case against it is very tough to win. The bar is higher. It has to be actual malice or really, really reckless. And then even the standard of proof is higher. So it's a tough case, but we all know it's not about winning the case. It's going to be the politics of him pushing back on her and saying, you've defamed me, you're out of line, I'll see you in court, and, you know, making his bones that way.
We're going to see more of it because so she puts it out there, it's in a debate, he says that he's going to sue. It's like getting a correction in the New York Times.
Exactly.
It's like one sentence, it doesn't matter. But this race is now pretty much tied. So you're going to see more from her because she's going to get a little desperate.
And I think that's really what's going on here. She's starting to
Believe this bullshit.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm
Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page.
I believe that the system is rigged. Okay? It is. The whole shit is rigged. And that's just what it is. The system is fucking rigged. You know, and we just gotta deal with it. And at the moment, we're kind of stuck. We're definitely stuck. And I'm still waiting for that asteroid to come. It's coming, I know. Let's see. Let's close this out. All right, I still got some more to go. I still got a lot to go. It's Friday. It's the weekend. Yo, what's up, Seven? How you doing, man? Taking a break from working on a movie. Oh yeah, you working on a movie? Are you gonna put it on your chat on YouTube? I like watching them. I do. I watch them. When I get the notification, because it gives me a notification when you upload when you do an upload, like a movie and stuff like that, when you put it up, I get a notification. And then when I'm done with the show and stuff, I watch it. I like the AI stuff. It's gonna be a big time problem for the future. Because people are not gonna realize what's real and what's fake. And people are going to be fooled easily, and it can manipulate people's feelings and play them in the wrong way. Can end up having people, unalived. It sucks, but AI is still learning, and let's see what we have here next. Oh no, not this creep. Are you serious, Rick? Yeah, we gotta watch this creep. All right, Adam Schiff.
We are at this moment. Senator Schiff, Republicans said that and pointed to the fact that Letitia James campaigned on prosecuting President Trump when she ran for Attorney General. How is that different from this situation?
Well, I will let Letitia James speak for her campaign. But what I'm talking about is using the power of this presidency, using the power of this Justice Department to go after the president's enemies and being instructed by the president to do so. Nixon had his enemies list. We had nothing like the kind of brutal, anti-democratic, corrupt abuse of the department that we see under Donald Trump. It is truly unprecedented.
Do you
Senator,
have confidence in a jury, and do you have confidence that the American people and a jury of Letitia James's peers can still be unbiased and can still bring justice in this instance? Do you still have confidence in that?
I still have confidence in the jury system. What I think the American people have lost confidence, though, is in the independence
In you.
of the Justice Department.
We lost confidence in you.
Prosecutors for the department who are Donald Trump's criminal defense lawyers. I remember when they were up for confirmation, asking them whether they were going to continue to be his criminal defense lawyers or whether they were going to be the representative of the American people. Well, we now have their answer. They're going to continue to be the president's criminal defense lawyers and act that way. The interests of the department, the American people, in going after violent crime and going.
This guy should be in jail. I don't understand why he's on a mic.
A second seat to the president's personal campaign of retribution.
Has there been any outreach from investigators at Martin's office? He's been named to the special prosecutor here for investigating you. Have you interacted with them at all? Have they reached out to you at all?
All I can tell you, all I know is from what, frankly, the president says and other Justice Department people say, which is, of course, the most flagrant violation of everything in the Justice Department ethics manual and rules. They are attempting to prosecute these cases in the public, and they make no bones about it. People like Ed Martin openly talk about, well, if the evidence.
This guy needs to be prosecuted.
We're just gonna name them and shame them.
This guy, we should hit him with treason.
Sadly, that's what's become of this Justice Department. We have people who are here.
I don't understand how the guy still has a voice and still gets to talk.
Police officers guarding this building.
This guy's a fucking idiot.
In the weaponization section of the Justice Department, trying to use that department against the president's enemies. That is just how upside down this is. This has become an injustice department at the very top levels. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Guy's a clown. I can't with him. Hold on, let me bring it back to me. I can't with that clown. He should be in fucking jail. Oh man. A cowboy movie? Oh, you're doing a cowboy movie? It's gonna be a real movie. It's to take a month or two to make it. Oh wow. So you can see what it's going to look like. Oh, okay. I'll check it out now. Let me put up this next video and I'll check it out. It's just fucking Adam Schiff. He always between Letitia James and Adam Schiff. Like Adam Schiff should not even be talking. He should be in jail. He should be actually indicted also. He should like not even be a part of Washington. That should be in jail. That guy is the most crookedest like Palpatine that there is. It's Adam Schiff. They gotta take him out. I don't know how they're gonna take him out of power, but they gotta have to take him out of power. All right, let's see what we got here. Let me go ahead and play this real quick.
I mean, according to PolitiFact, the day after she was elected in 2018, Letitia James was asked by a community activist if she was going to sue President Trump. And she replied, quote, "Oh, we're going to definitely sue him. We're going to be a real pain in the ass. He's going to know my name personally." I mean, that's not a great look for somebody who has just been elected or just been campaigning, who hasn't even looked, I guess, at deeply at any evidence.
Anderson Cooper addressed the fresh indictment of Letitia James Day on CNN, where he led the New York Attorney General to zero in on President Trump. It was not a great look, the CNN star said. The anchor discussed James's conversation with a community activist who asked in 2018 if James was ready to sue the president. just one day after she won the Attorney General election.
Will you sue him for us? Oh, we're going to definitely sue. We're going to be a real... Yeah, he's going to know my name personally.
I mean, that's not a great look. And sued the Trump Organization on claims the company inflated the value of the real estate empire, leading to a judgment against the president and hundreds of millions in fines. Then, in a twist, $355 million in penalties was thrown out by a higher court in August after Trump successfully appealed the case. Now the tables have turned, and James was indicted on charges of bank fraud in Virginia. Any wrongdoing is also claiming the prosecution is pure politics. These charges are baseless, and the president's own public statements make clear that his only goal is political retribution at any cost, James said.
That's pretty cool. I was checking out the video that Seven was showing. Well, I'm just looking at it here. Now, is it going to be like a movie or is it going to be like a video game? It looks pretty cool. It looks cool. I just saw it. It's like a little Western. But it's like, what type of movie is it going to be? Well, I know it's going to be a Western movie, but what type of Western? Is it going to be like a serious movie, a comedy movie? It's going to be like a semi, like, kind of like a Clint Eastwood type movie. Let's see, I got another video here. Oh, Lord, not a third time. We just saw this bitch yesterday. If you were here yesterday, I did the story. This crazy lady that's running for governor of California. Well, I guess there's a third video of her like acting crazy, I guess. Yeah, let's check that out. Like, what's wrong? This girl has anger problems. This is the real true anger problems.
Well, another video has emerged of California governor candidate Katie Porter berating a staffer. It's the second video released this week where she yells at an employee. Matt Finn has more.
Here.
Matt, I'd never yell at you.
There's going to be.
I appreciate that, Dana.
Oh, shit.
I expect that from you. But Dana, in this latest video from Katie Porter, perhaps not as compelling as the other viral videos from this week, but it does
Like Cowboys and Aliens.
Chatter about how Porter treats her staff.
Actually, a good movie.
I'm so sorry, but I am about to get on. Bernard, I need you to turn these off. These that are killing me. Hang on 1 second, everybody.
No, we should put the computer up on it.
Yes, yes, we should have. Yes. Okay, everybody, I'm not that dark.
So in this new video, Porter seems to keep much more of her composure in comparison to how she treated a staffer in another video obtained by Politico.
And the state could lose. Get out of my shot. It does. Okay. You also were in my shot before that. Stay out of my shot.
These videos raise the question of whether the Democratic frontrunner has the disposition to be California's governor.
She's an alien, I think. Seven.
Keep doing this. I'm going to call it. Thank you.
You're not going to do the interview with us?
Nope, not like this. I'm not. Not with 7 follow-ups to every single question you ask.
Now, amid the political fallout, one of Porter's competitors bought an ad just playing 3 minutes of Porter's abrasive and dismissive behavior. Another candidate said bluntly, time to get out of the race. Now, as of this morning, Porter has not spoken publicly about all these videos this week that are seemingly causing damage to her campaign. Politico.
You off this weekend, Seven?
In a statement saying, quote, "It's no secret she holds her staff to a high standard," and she writes she has sought to be more intentional, showing gratitude to her staff. Dana.
All right, Matt Finn, thank you.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel.
That chick is crazy, man. Even her husband warns us. That bitch is crazy. He has warned us. He's like, do not vote her in. She is a crazy. She's crazy. Like, no. Y'all, Sunday, nice. If you want to come on Sunday, you can come on Sunday and join me here. I'll do a show on Sunday. I was thinking about taking tomorrow off because I'm going to a friend's house and we're going for a cookout, and I'm gonna be there for a good amount of time, and I don't think I'm gonna do a show tomorrow, so I'm skipping tomorrow's show, and I'm gonna do a show on Sunday, and then yeah, you could jump on. We could go over through some videos, and we could just mindstorm and talk about like your animation and all that good stuff. I mean, I think it's gonna be pretty cool. I'll watch it. It gave me like that Clint Eastwood type of vibes. Like if I have like the aliens in there and stuff, and it's AI. It still needs to be cleaned up, you know. And it's just this is like a rough, because I saw the video. Yeah, I'm gonna watch it again. Is it okay for me to show it on here, or I'll keep it to myself? Because I'm gonna watch it again. Let's see if I can put it bigger. Okay. It looks like a video game. Definitely looks like a video game. I was like, if it's a movie, I'm sure thinking a video game. Yeah, can come through Sunday. It'll be a 7 special. All right, let's see what else we got going on news wise. I do have more here opened, so we still got a ways to go. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some breaking news along the way, so that's why I'm trying to move it along here. So let me set this up here, and let's watch this real quick.
Zohran Mamdani's socialist ideas are spreading far and wide across the country, maybe soon to a city near you. Boston City Council members reportedly may launch Mamdani's government-owned grocery store experiment in their town, insisting it was totally their idea. Now a New England grocery industry expert says the proposal is a job killer and will punish grocers already facing thin profit margins, strict regulations, and rising costs. So I think the point here is it's an idea that sounds really nice, DeRoy, until you're somebody who has no idea how to run a grocery store and you try it. Yeah. And you find out that your good idea runs into a brick wall of the reality of a low margin business that's exceedingly complex.
Absolutely right. Look, there should be a basic principle in public assistance, which is if you're trying to help poor people in need, just give them money and let them go out and buy whatever they need in the private market, which is what food stamps are. So if you have poor people in Boston who need help, just give them the food stamps, and then they can go to their own local grocery store or in the big chains and buy whatever they need.
But see, there's a problem with that. If you give them money, you don't get to control what they buy, and you don't get to control where they buy it,
So
and
it's
you
all
don't get
about
to control the
control.
people who control the stuff
you go.
they're buying, right? So isn't that kind of it at the end of the day? It's really not about groceries.
Yeah, well,
it's about social control.
What these people want to do is control people. And then, of course, if you're the city of Boston or the city of New York or any other city, you can hire people to work at the grocery store, give jobs to your friends, and then go out and manipulate things and all that,
God.
which is what we don't want. So
Yeah.
to whether you're talking about college assistance, you're talking about food or healthcare, The whole idea should be give people vouchers, let them go in the private market and find what they want, rather than have government run the program, go in there and buy the oranges and stack the shelves full of Captain Crunch or whatever. There's no need for the government to do that.
The cronyism and the corruption is something I hadn't even thought of as one of the largest problems here.
Absolutely.
But the other problem is I can't erase those pictures of Kansas City and the government-run grocery store there that failed, where you went to choose an item and there were 2 things on the shelf to choose from. They looked rotten and inedible because the government doesn't know how to run a grocery store. So putting the food stamps aside for a second, you also realize a lot of these grocery stores are offering private label options to bring costs down for people because they can manufacture and they can create products. I think Amazon was the latest one to say it's doing a string of these in its grocery delivery. But the government doesn't know how to run a business. It shouldn't stick its nose in where it doesn't belong. And what's going to end up happening, the same way we've watered down healthcare, because I'm convinced that they'd prefer you to die early rather than keep you alive, is we're going to be eating total garbage.
These guys are
rotten garbage.
Rotten garbage at that.
With no choice.
Not even fresh garbage, rotten garbage.
You'll have 2 rotten garbage choices instead of, a bunch of choices on a shelf. It's a disaster idea.
I think they don't worry about not knowing how to run a grocery store because they also know the beauty of this plan from their perspective is as the grocery store loses money, they can go back to not paying their fair share taxpayers and say, you got to kick in a little more, which is what happens every time with these. The subsidies to these things, Dagan, your favorite term, it's a bailout land.
It is. Running the grocery store is irrelevant, isn't it? It's just the control. I think this speaks to when viewers ask, why do you talk about Mamdani so much? Because it's coming for you.
Coming to a theater.
That's
near
why
you.
it is coming to a town near. Go ahead.
No, finish your thought.
No, go ahead.
Boston has an office of food justice. They literally have an office of food justice. And they have 13 city council members. 13. And how many of the 13 do you think are Democrats?
All
of them. No, well, 8, and then the rest don't have a party listed, so go ahead. Interpret as you will. So Mamdani's idea will work in a city like Boston until it doesn't work. But I was reading this as, they want to make sure there aren't food deserts for people who live there.
Yeah.
As if saying just because you don't have access to means you can't make good choices. I've been on the road. We've all been on the road in the middle of nowhere, and you have to eat dinner at like the local gas station. You can sort of control what you get. There is personal choice that comes in. I don't need a choice of like broccoli or Brussels sprouts, and that's all I can get in my government-run grocery store. So it's just, I think this would work in Boston, and then it would fail, but they would definitely fail.
I think when you see your broccoli and Brussels sprouts there, they're going to look like they're rotting and wilted and really inedible, which is the sad part of it. If they're trying to control it in that regard, that's not going to work either.
No one's going to want it.
You mentioned the food deserts. One thing we have now is called Amazon and a lot of these other delivery services. Yeah. So you're in a place where there's not a grocery store, go on Amazon or whatever else it is, order your food and they'll deliver it either later that day or maybe the next day. That's one option. The other thing that's really important here.
But you're trying to, we're trying to rationalize with people who are irrational.
Right.
We know they're irrational because they think they can make socialism. They are so arrogant and consumed with their own sense of self. They think they can make socialism and communism work when it has failed repeatedly. This is never. Government is not being greater government, more government is not about being a bulwark against the rich. It is about taking over the government and capturing it. That's why they're in the grift in the first place. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've also heard people, some conservatives say, they're actually rooting for Mamdani to win, so it can be a giant sort of cautionary tale for the rest of the country. There's a risk in that, which is that, like cancer, socialism spreads. So people who are Mamdani-like or AOC-like will say, we control New York City Hall. Let's run in Denver. Let's run in San Diego. Let's run in Oklahoma City, wherever it is. And all of a sudden, you're going to have little mini Mamdanis popping up all over the place. So I think it's very important this man lose the election because we want to nip this in the bud rather than have it planted in the biggest city in the country, have it expand coast to coast from there. That would not be a good
Cuomo got a little boost in the polls since Adams dropped out, and he was touting that as he's still far behind, 33% to 47%, I think it was.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Murphy, Mike, doesn't think Mamdani will win.
Thinks he won't win.
He's such an optimist, though.
That's
why we love him.
He really is.
I have the most liberal of friends, one of my circles, and none of them are on board with Mamdani. So if you want some hope.
Were they on board and jumped off, or they never?
No, never were on
never
board. They're scared by it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
They should be.
Well, it could be some rotten Brussels sprouts coming to a shelf near you.
I mean, what's worse than Brussels sprouts? Rotten ones.
I'm okay with Brussels sprouts if they got bacon and like brown sugar on
Well,
them,
that's
but
candied Brussels sprouts.
that
Bacon makes it better.
That's
Always.
very different.
I like Brussels sprouts. Who doesn't? All right, let's see what else we have here. What's this?
It's your order to disperse. You must move. Okay, we'll start right in seconds. All right. We need ID. Take it. We need the ID. ID, please. ID. Okay, you want to have to go in. Yeah. ID. We need ID. Go in. Let's go in. It means go in and you want to get somebody. So start moving. Start moving.
Come back at 9. Fuck off! Come back at 9.
Let's go. Start moving!
Let's go. Come on. They picked you yet? Come on. They picked you yet? Keep going.
Let's go. Let's go.
Where specifically can we stand?
Yeah. Protesting begins.
Let's go. Keep moving! Gotta go. Keep moving! Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
What's your name?
Keep moving! Let's go.
Keep moving.
Let's go. Keep moving! Come on. Hey, let's all get on stepping. Let's get on stepping and get on back. Get on stepping. Get on stepping. Let's go. Let's get on stepping.
Keep going.
Get on stepping. Get on stepping.
Let's go. Say ice. What the fuck you doing here?
Let's go. All gotta go.
Let's keep moving,
These old people going to jail. Damn, it's early in the morning. Damn. That old man could be that kid's father. Damn. They won the stupid prizes. They won stupid prizes. They played stupid games and they won stupid prizes. We want to save you. What's your name?
Who's got a computer that they can dish out citations right now?
Damn, they want to give out citations.
Anybody else have a computer that they can dish out citations? 219 has one. Whoever's got one. That's these guys identified or?
These cops are getting like fed up with these people. They're getting fed up.
I think somebody's got their IDs.
It's stupid. They gotta go through this shit to take illegals out of our country.
Team custody. 2 to 10 right now. I'm sorry? 2 to 10 right now. We're going to get some tickets. And then we're going to release. I'm looking forward to the So, village ordinance violation. Village ordinance violation. You will get a court date for it. It's going to be at the Brockton Police Department. There'll be a date on it there. Okay, so show up to our court date, and then they'll decide there what fine if anything will get. Okay. So, 10.
It's not like a state charge or anything. It's just going to be like a ticket. They go on the police department on a certain date. You'll be released on okay? So once you get the ticket, just make sure not to come back here until 9 a.m. Come back here before 9 a.m. and you have to come out again, then it's going to be a state charge, okay? Does that make sense?
He's like telling them what to do. I don't get it. He's like, all y'all gonna get is a ticket, and you gotta go to court. But they're gonna release him. They're only gonna give him tickets.
I brought some money for the donation. Oh, okay.
Instead of taking them to jail.
Are you going to get an IBAN or what? I just want to make sure I was going to take it. It's a village charge. Yeah. It may be illegally even enacted. I don't know that the mayor has the power to do that. You probably have to have the board of trustees. We'll see what they say.
Yeah.
I'll hire Robin Lovely to do that for some lawsuit.
They'll get a court date. They get a ticket, court date. They go to jail. They get their picture taken, fingerprinted.
See you again soon. Oh yeah, I'll be here tomorrow. Okay, I won't.
They'll be out the same day. He's like, we'll be out here tomorrow. Damn. Sucks for them. Let's keep it moving.
A federal grand jury in Virginia has indicted New York Attorney General Letitia James on criminal charges after an investigation by the Department of Justice.
Chanley Painter has the details. Good morning, Chanley.
Hey, good morning. So New York Attorney General Letitia James facing federal mortgage fraud charges after prosecutors say she falsely claimed a home in Virginia as her second residence while using it as a rental property. A federal grand jury finding that she was then able to obtain more optimal loan terms. Well, James now faces a 2-count indictment, including 1 count of bank fraud and 1 count of making false statements to a financial institution. Each count carries a potential sentence of up to 30 years in prison and up to $1 million in fine and forfeiture.
This is nothing more than a continuation of the president's desperate weaponization of our justice system. These charges are baseless, and the president's own public statements make clear that his only goal is political retribution at any cost. I stand strongly behind my office's litigation against the Trump organization.
Critics of President Trump say he called on the Justice Department to bring charges against James as retribution for previous lawsuits she brought against the commander-in-chief during his first term, something that those in the administration and federal prosecutors, of course, deny. The U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia say this, quote, no one is above the law. The charges as alleged in this case represent intentional criminal acts and tremendous breaches of the public's trust. The facts and the law in this case are clear, and we will continue following them to ensure that justice is served. James is set to be arraigned on October 24th, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, you're not supposed to say untruths to banks.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
And you really can't talk about weaponization when you have a person that campaigned on getting Donald Trump and then did it once they became the attorney general. I just don't have the appetite to hear about it.
She would sit in the court, kick off her shoes, and just watch the whole trial every single day. I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page.
And she would take off her shoes and she would kick back and be watching what's going on. She's creepy as fuck. Let's keep on going. Let's keep on going. Happy here. Kind of gives me like that Halloween feeling. Ow.
¿Cómo se llaman?
Yellow.
¿Cómo se llaman?
¡Ayuda! ¡Ayuda!
¿Cómo te llamas?
¡Por favor! ¡Por favor! ¡Por favor!
Damn. Dang.
¡Ayuda! ¡Ayuda!
Ah, you're going bye-bye. Yellow is taking you bye-bye. You illegal. You go bye-bye.
Where's your humanity? Where's your soul?
Where's your humanity? They're taking them
This is
out.
how you treat people? Humans? What is
Illegal.
wrong with you?
They're illegal humans. They're not from here.
You're a piece of
You piece of shit. Oh, that's what you have to say? That was stupid of her. How about humanity? How about global warming while we're at it? How about I don't know. I'm self-destructing now. I don't know. These people are weird, man. Weird energy. All right, let's keep it moving.
And this year's Nobel Peace Prize goes to Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado. The Nobel Committee made the announcement this morning, calling Machado a brave and committed champion of peace for her work promoting democratic rights for the people of Venezuela. Machado founded a group that works to promote free and fair elections. She was then elected to Venezuela's National Assembly with a record number of votes, but the Maduro regime expelled her from office and then barred her from running for president. Now she says she's honored, humble, and very grateful on behalf
And she
of the
won the
Venezuelan
Nobel
people.
Peace Prize for that?
I have no words. I thank you so much, but I hope you understand this is
They made the wrong decision. They should have given it to Trump.
this is a movement. This is a achievement of a whole society. I am just one person. I certainly do not deserve this.
Foreign correspondent Tom Sufi-Burridge is here for more on that. Hi, Tom. So the Nobel Committee says democracy is in retreat internationally. How significant is this recognition, choosing this person for the Nobel Peace Prize? And how do you think it could affect the fight for democracy in Venezuela and beyond?
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting choice, Diane. Look, Maria Corina Machado, it will be a massive boost for her international profile. It shines a big light on her cause, and she continues to campaign for democracy in Venezuela and a peaceful transition of power away from the Maduro regime. I mean, arguably, the Maduro regime might now see her as more of a threat, although she's already in hiding and has been for months. But, it will shine a light on Venezuela. It will isolate internationally the Maduro regime further. But I don't think we should overplay the significance. At the moment, that regime has an iron grip on power.
I spoke to Machado last year, and she told me the most important thing is that her movement has the support of the people. I want to play some of that conversation for you.
We need to put all the pressure on Nicolas Maduro so that he understands that the cost of staying in power will be higher. It's getting higher every day until the cost of leaving power is less than that. And that's what we need to do right now. We need to put all pressure from within, and that's what we are doing, even we're persecuted and being under repression. I've been accused of terrorism. The regime is looking for me, and that's happening with most of our members of our teams. But we are working, we are willing to fight, as well as our Venezuela diaspora around the world. So this is the moment to move ahead, to put pressure on Maduro and to make him understand that all those that have committed crimes against humanity will be held accountable.
Tom, that was September 2024. Where does that fight stand now?
Well, look, Maduro was re-elected last year in elections which most of the world believe were a sham. And look, most of the opposition, Diane, in Venezuela are in hiding like Corina Machado. So, you know, there isn't a sort of sign that the regime is about to crack. And at the moment, there is no sign that the security forces in Venezuela are about to move away from the Maduro regime. And that's a key point. But look, the economy in the country is in trouble. And, you know, successive US administrations have supported the Venezuelan opposition, but the Trump administration is going further, launching those strikes on boats which the administration claims are being used by narco gangs. But, you know, it's unclear what impact this increased attention by the US administration of Donald Trump will have on the opposition and ultimately on the Maduro regime.
Machado is a staunch supporter of President Trump and his campaign for military pressure against the Maduro regime. Any response from the president to this pick, given he also wanted this prize?
Not yet from the president. From a top official, communications director, basically criticizing the award to Corina Machado instead of Donald Trump, saying that the Nobel Peace Committee have chosen politics over peace. I mean, that effectively is the White House reinforcing their argument that Donald... but look, I think it's an interesting choice because in some sense, Donald Trump and Corina Machado are on the same side because Donald Trump opposes Maduro and backs the Venezuelan opposition. So it'll be interesting to see what he has to say.
All right, foreign correspondent Tom Sufi-Burge, thank you.
He congratulated her. I'm pretty sure he already spoken to her and congratulated her. You know, they always trying to paint Trump like this big villain. Like, nah, the guy, he has a heart. You know, she won and he's on her side. So he is proud of her. Like, he would love for her to take over and run the country, to be honest. All right, we got some more news here. All right, let's go ahead and watch this.
Prosecutors say a whistleblower who works here noticed something wasn't right, and that led to a widespread investigation. Look at each person facing the camera in each of these images. They are all the same person, according to prosecutors, who say the woman who posed as all of these different men and women did it for dangerous reasons.
Driving a massive truck through our streets where our children are playing, it is disturbing.
The Nassau District Attorney calls it a corruption ring at the DMV in Garden City. That's where, she says, 35-year-old Jamie Middleton took commercial driver's license, or CDL, written exams for 7 different people. Investigators say that each time she'd use disguises, sunglasses, and surgical masks to look like a different person taking the exam.
For the right price, they'd allow anyone to get a CDL permit.
The DA said 3 workers at the DMV were in on it with Middleton, the test taker, including Middleton's sister, Kanesha, a supervisor at the DMV. This shows what happened, according to investigators. Workers would have on their computers a photo of the person who was supposed to take the test, but they'd let Middleton, who's clearly not the person on the computer screen, take it instead. She'd split a $1,500 to $3,000 payment for each bogus test with accomplices in the DMV, the DA said. One person Middleton allegedly took the written test for drove a truck based out of this sanitation facility in Hempstead. James Nurse, according to investigators, is the only person whose exam Middleton took who actually got a full license. Why?
Because every driver must take a road test.
And that? At least 2 would-be drivers, Omesh Mohan and Renee Sarwi, failed, say prosecutors. Everybody allegedly involved faces up to 7 years in prison if found guilty, and this investigation continues.
You see, you have to take the road tests. Yeah, you can do the paper test, and get the scores, but you have to take the physical test, the road test, and they failed that. So, but one of them did pass, and it's just weird. Technology is weird. People are trying to be slick, and now they're getting in trouble because they thought they were slick, and that was a lot of money. She was split amongst them. You know, each test is split like a thousand to each. Like, are you kidding me? That's wild. I wonder how much they charge. They have to charge at least what, like 5,000, because she's the one taking the test, so she has to get paid more. Well, like maybe 5, 6,000. So it's like 3,000 for her, and then the other 3,000 she splits it with the other people at the DMV, so that way she could get them to slide that in and get the license for the individual. That's crazy. And imagine that's happening in one DMV. You can imagine what's happening all around the country. Ah, man, it's a nightmare. America's a nightmare. It is. It's a big time nightmare, and more people need to wake up. All right, let's check out this next story. I don't know what it is. It's Fox and Friends first. Let's see what this was about.
Back here at home in Arizona, a widow is outraged after a judge sentenced her husband's killer to only 4 years probation and 200 hours of community service. The man served prison time after killing Dr. Jeffrey Honer last year in a road rage shooting.
Oh my God.
Calling out the DA's office, demanding they focus on protecting the public instead of criminals. Dr. Jeffrey Honer's widow Alyssa and brother Kenneth both join me now.
Oh my
Thank you so much
God.
for joining us to you both. We're so sorry for your loss, and the details of this situation are just incomprehensible. Alyssa, I'll start with you. What was your reaction to this sentence and your
So
husband
low.
getting spared
Like
jail time?
nothing.
Like I said, we were just absolutely, it was unfathomable for us. We were shocked to get the sentence, especially after the judge seemed so sympathetic to our case.
Yeah, he did. He even cried and said, "I'm so sick of gun violence." But your husband's killer received a slap on the wrist. How could this happen?
Yes. There are so many factors at play here, and a lot of it is what is going on with the DA's office. I feel that they are overwhelmed, overworked, and just the whole process and the process of investigation, everything. Ken will talk more about all of that, but.
Yeah, Ken, what is your reaction to this sentence and how this could happen?
Right. We were shocked. We felt like the justice system let us down on this. Clearly, we expected a different outcome, and we didn't get it. And I think part of it, as Lissa said, is that the DA's office it's had a lot of turnover. We lost our initial prosecutor. I've heard that they've lost half the prosecutors in that office, and as a result, they have limited staff, and they're willing to make a deal.
Alyssa, in the short time that we have remaining, tell us about your husband and what you would like people to know about him.
My husband was an amazing individual. He knew so many people. He was everyone's best friend. That's how everyone always talks about him. He was always ready to help anyone in need, whether it was his patients or people, from our church congregation or just in the community. He loved to take care of animals, of patients, and he was just always ready to do his best.
Yeah, well, it feels like a loss 2 times over with the loss of your husband and your brother. And then the outcome of this case just feels like such a deep injustice. But Alyssa, Ken, maybe with your advocacy, you can help change the criminal justice system moving forward. Alyssa, Ken Honer, we are so sorry for your loss, and thank you for speaking out to us this morning.
Thank
you so much.
All right, let's keep it moving.
Federal
federal judge has blocked the Trump administration's deployment of National Guard troops to Chicago for now, as tensions on the streets continue to rise. Illinois Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker is out defending protesters.
There are people running around, and that's mayhem on the ground, and that's going to be the excuse to send troops in, or that's going to be the excuse to do more than they're already doing. All I can say is that I'm proud of the people who are peacefully protesting out there and doing the right thing if they want to.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott insists the troop deployment is necessary to restore law and order.
Now, the president, who's finally enforcing the laws of the United States, is only natural, by extension, that if there's a need for that elite National Guard to provide assistance anywhere in the entire country, that it would be the National Guard called upon.
Meanwhile, ICE is facing a slew of assaults and threats. One agent's spouse got this message, which reads in part, "Retribution will come your way eventually." And in Houston, a Halloween display appears to show figures of ICE agents hung in a mock execution. Dr. Sapphire, we're talking about not just ICE agents who we know have been under threat, who have faced organized assaults on their facilities and sniper fire in Texas, to riots from Portland to the Chicago area. But when these threats become so personal, what does that mean to the hearts and the minds of these public servants that also have to get out there and do their jobs every day?
Yeah, I think it's being reported right now that the attacks on them is up like 1,000% over the last couple of years. And these are people who are going out, these are not the highest paying jobs you can get. These are government servants, and all they are doing is trying to protect our country and keep our community safe. Being an ICE official, that's not anti-immigrant. That is pro-community and pro-American. And, one of the things that I find honestly the most disturbing, first of all, people are continuing to demonize ICE. And I've seen people calling them like Nazis and comparing them to like the Gestapos of Nazism. I mean, we can have conversations about immigration policy without rewriting history entirely. The fact that Nazism was they hunted and they murdered innocents in the absence of law. What ICE does here in the United States is enforce the law using constitutional due process, using the court system. I mean, everything that is happening right now is legal. And to continue to demonize them, I mean, it is just dishonoring the true victims of evil in the past. And all of a sudden, these ICE officials who have taken these jobs to uphold the law, protect our communities, they themselves are now putting themselves at risk, and they're not going to want to do it anymore. And this is going to lead to a more uprising of criminal activity, unsafe community, and rightfully so. I mean, I would not blame them for leaving their jobs. Because if we can't protect them, then yes, they should leave the job. We own police force to protect ICE officials. We're going to lose them all.
I want to talk about just kind of the different realities that it seems to be that our public officials are living in. J.B. Pritzker, they're protesters, and we in America supporting our protest coordination. In this case, we have outside. Does ICE not have the right and the federal government have the right to protect the people that are out there doing their jobs?
Right. Well, everyone should be protected, protesters included. And it's really unfortunate that law enforcement has to spend so much of their time dealing with this when they could be protecting and serving communities. Same thing with our federal agents who are having to take so much of their time. I'd also add these ICE agents will continue to do this job because it's a calling and they've got support from the president and the White House. They will continue to do it. The only calculation they make, because they know this is a difficult and dangerous job, is their families. That's what they're most concerned about, is that their families will be safe while they do this job that they signed up for and take the risk, and they're proud to do it. But I would also say this. When Democrats like Pritzker and others, when they say that National Guard or federal agents, that when they call them an authoritarian or an invading force, okay, or they say that enforcing the law is somehow the authoritarian Trump regime, let's flash back 5 years ago when many of these governors were more than happy to have, whether it was law enforcement officers or other law enforcement bodies, policing people for going to the park with their children during COVID, surfing in the waters of Malibu during COVID. They were totally fine with having them as their personal mask police, enforcing gatherings of 8 people or less. That was totally fine. But now protecting federal agents, carrying out law and order and protecting federal facilities, now all of a sudden that's authoritarian. Please, this was 5 years ago. Never forget what they did to us during COVID.
Emily, I
Yep.
want to get your take on this. We, of course, have this judge, April Perry. She's a Biden appointee.
Yep.
She's fairly new to the bench, actually. She's only been a federal judge for less than a year. So this is a rather notable decision that she's made out there for that area. Your thoughts on she's essentially
What's that,
questioned
Chloe?
the Trump administration's credibility on the issue and pushed back and has been seeking answers about just what precisely the National Guard would be doing on the ground there in the area, how far they would go to go beyond protecting federal facilities. Your thoughts on her ruling?
Yeah, I think that authority is different from power. And I think the authority is squarely vested in the executive branch to indeed augment when local and state law enforcement or decision makers have abdicated their duty. I think it's clear here that why Democrats and liberals and activist judges are so fearful and in their own mental mayhem is because they see that the power has been restored into an executive branch that is executing the mandate of the people. They are terrified that all of a sudden their power to police masks and what your children learn in school and putting men and women's sports, that all of that has been taken away and restored rightfully back into the hands of the people. And I think about when J.B. Pritzker and governors like him, like Gavin Newsom, who fixate on the president as a human instead of in any way acknowledging the constituency Americans that he's aiming to serve and protect. If we can pop up for a second that imagery again, the horrific image, I can't get it out of my head, of the effigies hanging in the noose with the coffins next to them in a playground of a undoubtedly taxpayer-paid neighborhood. Are you joking? That is the symbolism and the imagery that people are used to in cartel-ridden South and Central American countries that have an abject corruption that has infused the law enforcement and the administrations there. The fact that this is an American neighborhood is absolutely and patently unacceptable. Where are those leaders in that area to say not on our watch? Because at the end of the day, the risk, God help us, if any of our federal agents or in law enforcement get any more hurt than they already have been, that blood is on their hands.
David, your thoughts?
My thoughts are what keep Tom Homan up at night. And I asked him that question once. We all know him. He's a tough guy. He comes across as a very tough guy, and he is. But what keeps him up at night is not his own safety or his family's safety. It's the 400, how many? I have to look at notes. 470,000 unaccompanied children who came in during the Biden administration. Now, 300,000 of them were lost. They disappeared because of the HHS under Biden was operated terribly. We have just recently found 65,000 reports of unaccompanied kids that had case studies behind them. That is, they were trying to look for these kids that disappeared. Tom Homan is now trying to at least go back with that backlog of the 65,000 to try to find these children. That's what ICE agents are doing in addition to kicking out. You never hear about this, but the guy who's in charge of this entire operation is more concerned about all those kids, how many of them have been trafficked, where they have been trafficked, either sexually or for work. Remember that farm, that marijuana farm in California that was busted? They got about 340 illegals, and there was a group of 500 protesters, to use Pritzker's absurd word, that were throwing stones at them, et cetera. Well, there were also about a dozen kids that were found there, unaccompanied children working on a marijuana, as slave workers working on a marijuana farm. Those are the children that keep Tom Homan up at night. So think about that when you're calling these people fascists, when you're calling these people evil. These people are fathers of children and grandfathers, et cetera, and they care a lot about the kids that were being trafficked into this country and are still here unaccompanied by their parents.
And worth noting the hundreds and hundreds of sex offenders that they've been bringing into custody over the course in recent months.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered.
Emily Capano, what's up, girl? Just so funny. I'm gonna set up a couple of shows that I pulled up here, so bear with me because I do got a couple of them good ones for us to watch. So we'll give it a. We got some Jason A to watch. You know how I like Jason A. So we're gonna watch a couple of his. I've been waiting for his videos for a while. I was like, damn, man, when is it gonna come out? And sure enough, came out today. I was looking for it today. That's why he released it today. I feel like the energy was telling him, release it. because I really wanted to see what he had produced. You know, I like what he does. Let me add this to the frenzy. Somewhere around here, we'll watch it. Let's see what we got. Got that one, this one. We'll do a back-to-back Jason A. Got a video of the Mark Sanchez caught on video stumbling and acting erratic before the incident. So we're gonna watch that. Everything else, I was seeing if there's anything else going on. I don't care about the protesters. I don't want to give them the energy. You know what I mean? Because I know that's a really big distraction, and that's what they want. They want people to be distracted, and I let that distract me. There's other things that are going on, and we gotta pay attention. We gotta be paying attention. All right, so we're gonna set this one up too. All right, so sit back, relax. We got a good little lineup here of videos to watch. It's entertaining. I try to keep entertaining and, and for us to enjoy. We got a Tyson de la Cruz at the end. We'll probably have 2 Tyson de la Cruz by the time I get to it. So let's go ahead and start with this one. And let me know what you think in the chat. They're coming. They're going to Mexico. I want to come to America, but I don't think they're going to make it to America. This is an invasion. How do they let these people just go through their country like this? You know what I mean? These people should be turned around and having them walk back. That's what they should be doing. But it looks like a swarm of locusts. You know how the locusts, how they come and then they eat everything and they eat all, like, everything in sight. That's what I feel this is what we're dealing with. This is, and who's paying for this? Again, if you're gonna walk all that, you're gonna have like really good shoes, and you're gonna need new shoes because those shoes get worn out pretty quick. So who's paying for the shoes? So why these people are walking? I don't get it. Do they know where they're going? How do they know where they're going? How these people are doing? Like, they're all these young guys too. No. All these people, where are they going?
like they've never been on vacation before, so this is their first vacation. But in order to enjoy your vacation, you gotta walk. Are you willing to walk to the vacation? They give you a home, they give you money, they give you insurance. I tell you what, it's not the U.S. We don't need them, we don't want them. Their asses are staying in Mexico. If they trying to go up, they're trying to make it to Mexico. Because they can't come into the U.S. They won't let them in the U.S. So this is crazy. Why would you put your baby like on a stroller and put that baby through this trauma? That's crazy. Man, this seems so insane. That's a lot of walking. Like, where do these people sleep? First of all, where do these people piss and take a shit? You know what I mean? Because these people need to take a shit, right? In the morning? A lot of people they need to take a piss. A lot of them probably smell like shit. So what do they do? They keep walking. I'm pretty sure people get tired and then they get a rest. So they're walking on the highway. Yeah, they do all this walking, but they look like they're not losing weight. That girl still looks sick. They're just supposed to do all this walking, right? I wonder who's giving these people food. Because the clothes, they worn out. Like, they would need like at least 2 pairs to make it through a trip. And that's if you're starting with really good shoes. Like, what is this? They should all be arrested. Like, I don't understand why they just let them walk through the border like that. You know? All these people should be turned back. And how do they know the route to which way to go? You know what I mean? Like who's guiding them? Is it GPS that's guiding them? Who's the leader? Who's the monkey? Who's the leader? I want to know who's the leader. All right, we're gonna watch a back-to-back of Jason A. So let's go ahead and sit back, relax, and enjoy. And let me set this up for us here. Okay, we're almost there. Here we go.
I think this is bigger than people realize. You have now a complete paradigm shift in the Middle East. Russia has no influence. Communist China has no influence. Feckless Europe has no influence. The superpower that has influence now in the entire Middle East, which is such a crucial region of the world, is the United States of America.
The smiles on their faces suggest that this deal for the first phase. Now, as we know, Laura, the devil is in the details, and the second phase, which is much more difficult, this first phase of the peace plan. Laura.
And Jennifer, it's pretty interesting that Jared Kushner with Witkoff was part of this duo that really drove this to the president's desk. Jared Kushner, obviously instrumental in the Abraham Accords, which no one thought was possible in the first term. And people wondered whether Jared would have much involvement at all in the second term. And here, only 9 months into the administration, this is a pretty pivotal achievement.
A huge achievement, and certainly Jared Kushner's achievement as the negotiator of the Abraham Accords in the first Trump term. He has a lot of credibility in the Middle East, and he has used that, as you've heard President Trump say, that this into the Gaza war is just the first phase of what he sees as a broader Middle East peace plan, if you will, that would broaden the Abraham Accords. That certainly is what is motivating Jared Kushner. Steve Witkoff has been at the center of hostage negotiations, has brought many of those hostages out from Gaza as well as around the world.
And President Trump advanced.
I think it's going to be a lasting peace, hopefully an everlasting peace.
The president planning to travel to Egypt this weekend for a formal signing and the return of the remaining hostages.
Thank you, sir. Regarding Jared Kushner's role in the negotiations, can you explain a little bit about why he came on at the last minute? And then in regards to the WIC program that the vice president mentioned, do you know when the funding that you promised through the tariff revenue will actually go through to communities? Because there's reports that WIC providers are actually starting to close down today.
Well, okay, let me just answer the Jared. So Jared's a very smart guy. He did the Abraham Accords. As some people say, the Abraham, which I love the way that sounds, but he did the Abraham Accords. It was a great thing. 4 big countries joined. If I were president, if the election would have been a correct election, which it wasn't, you'd have every country in there. Maybe even Iran would have been in there, frankly. But you'd have every country in. Now, by the way, that's going to be filled up rather quickly. People want to join the Abraham Accords. And I put Jared there because he's a very smart person, and he knows the region, knows the people, knows a lot of the players, and the combination of him and Steve Witkoff.
As celebrations continue in the Middle East, President Trump says he plans to go to the region for the peace deal, signing the release of the Hamas-held hostages in the next few days.
20 believed to still be alive after 2 years in Hamas captivity.
They should be released on Monday or Tuesday. Getting them is a complicated process.
And there are even more complicated steps ahead, including a requirement for Hamas to disarm and leave power, still an open question.
They got to be written out of the future of Palestine. Just keep our fingers crossed.
Cautious optimism on Capitol Hill, where lawmakers in both parties gave credit to President Trump.
What we need is bipartisan support for the peace process, which will be fraught with obstacles, make no mistake.
As for how this deal came together, Secretary of State Marco Rubio pointed to some key turning points, including President Trump securing the backing of leaders of Muslim-majority nations at the UN General Assembly last month, getting Israel's prime minister to sign on in a White House visit, and delivering a final ultimatum to Hamas.
And Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner met with Prime Minister Netanyahu to craft the 20-point plan that really is the basis for the deal, the first phase of the deal that will be signed in Sharm el-Sheikh tomorrow at noon, we're told. So those meetings, that involvement of Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff and President Trump, this would not have happened otherwise.
And some word that President Trump may be flying to the region this weekend to be there. He's been invited there. Jennifer, this is fascinating, historic first step, but an important step.
Rotem Cooper's father, Amiram, is one of many that did not make it out alive.
It feels like this day happened not because of, but despite of the Israeli Prime Minister and Hamas, and more because of President Trump.
Why do you think this time was different and that President Trump was able to do this?
I don't know. I don't really care. I want to see them here. They're going to be, I think, quite a bit of celebrations. And then after that, we're going to get a lot of people in body bags. I wouldn't even call it relief, but closure.
I think this is a great day, and hostages are going to be coming home. They have spent 2 years in Gaza in hell, and they are coming home today and or this weekend, hopefully by Monday. And I think that is a good news story. And I think, credit to the administration, credit to Jared Kushner, who came in to help lead this process and take over some of the negotiations and really bring it to a close. It's also a little bit of sadness that this is something that we could have seen months ago. There was a deal in January that achieved the ceasefire where the female and the older men hostages came home. Phase 2 would have been essentially where we are today. So we have, to me, it's a little bit of a tinge of sadness of these folks could have been home 9 months ago or 8 months ago. Many Palestinians would still be alive, Israeli soldiers, and the horrific condition that Israel has seen over the last many months could have been avoided. But that doesn't take away from the fact that this is a good day.
Who held it up 9 months ago?
Look, I think there was a ceasefire in January. Phase 2 was supposed to start on day 42. And the Israelis they thought they'd get a better deal. And they tried different things of harder pressure on Hamas and so on. I think that ultimately the blockade for a few months and the more severe attacks in Gaza, those didn't work. And I think that the very harsh criticism that has caused an Israeli isolation in the world has really proven to the Israeli government, I think, that they needed a deal.
You have a complete realignment in the Middle East. The most powerful military force in the Middle East today is the State of Israel. The most consequential government and country in the entire Middle East is the United States of America, a complete paradigm shift. This has worldwide implications. It has implications for Europe, the Far East, the continent of Africa, the Western Hemisphere, because what Donald Trump has managed to do in alliance with the Prime Minister of Israel has changed the whole map. He's changed the economic consequences, all the oil that comes out of the Middle East and so forth. The power of the United States. We're not a conquering power. We're not an imperial power. We're not a colonial power. This man, Donald Trump, is able to do this through economic and diplomacy decisions, through tactical, directed military decisions. We have never, ever seen anything like this. I think about the collapse of the Soviet Union. Maybe it's something akin to that. But people will be writing about Russia like it's the next thing that we have to resolve in the world. It's really, really quite remarkable, Sean. However it works out, the world is a better place. It's a safer place. It's a more humane place.
It's frankly despicable that you're trying to suggest that it's inappropriate for Jared Kushner, who is widely respected around the world and has great trust in relationships with these critical partners in these countries, to strike a 20-point comprehensive detailed peace plan that no other administration would ever be able to achieve. And so Jared is donating his energy and his time to our government, to the President of the United States, to secure world peace. And that is a very noble thing. And this is a peace plan that has not just been accepted by Israel, but it has been applauded by Muslim and Arab countries around the world. It has been applauded by European leaders around the world. Virtually everyone in the world is supportive of this plan that Jared Kushner offered his time to help put together alongside our special envoy Witkoff, the Vice President, the President of the United States, Secretary Rubio, and the President's entire national security team. We are very proud of that plan, and we hope Hamas will accept it because it will lead to a more peaceful and prosperous Middle East.
Yeah, I hope, we could all hope. That's like the best thing we could do. Thank you, Jason A. That was awesome to upload. We got a back-to-back Jason A. And then we have that Mark Sanchez video. Then we have, let's see, a couple of more videos we got to watch. And then we'll wrap it up for the night. I'm not opening up any more new windows. All right, let's go back to back on Jason A.
A bonker new study claims alien DNA has been found inside humans. I didn't believe it myself until I saw this photo.
It sounds like an old science fiction movie, but a study out of Harvard finds that aliens might be living among us.
All right, moving on. Break out the theremin because this next story is just begging for a spooky sci-fi background. After 30 years at the helm of the Israeli space security program, and after receiving 3 Israeli security awards, retired Israeli general and respected professor Chaim Eshed is now unveiling that yes, there are aliens among us, yes, Israel has made contact with them, and no, humanity is not ready for them.
Well, some of them are written by prophets, but I mean, Enoch is apparently supposed to predate even the time of Genesis and talk.
The nuttiest one is Ezekiel.
I'm telling you, Enoch is even crazier than Ezekiel.
Like, explain the nuttiness of the Book of Enoch to people.
Well, it's okay. So if you read it, it talks about the fall of angels, thus creating really the precursor of civilization that led to the first flood. I think that when you even go into potentially the technology that was given to mankind by these angels, it talks about the hidden beliefs and theories in astronomy, etc., metalworkings, all of it. But it really does explain, you were talking about earlier how you have a lot of these religions around the world that kind of say the same thing. This is kind of the OG text that leads to those stories that we're hearing from many religions around the world, to talk about angels mixing with mankind and then seeding a super essentially race of humans that essentially were responsible for basically damning mankind to the flood. I mean, you hear about stuff in Greek and Roman mythology, people who had these super crazy powers, and you talk about it out loud and it sounds crazy, but that's what the book says. And then the fact that it was taken out and then it's poo-pooed, yet you have one of the oldest religions in the world via the Ethiopians that actually still have it. You have, the Catholic Church that has books that are missing out of the King James Version. I'm just saying that, when you read it, you should read it and decide for yourself. Don't listen to what I'm saying, don't listen to what you're saying, but truly give it a chance and see what you have to say. And then, you're going back to this whole concept of if you have this information pertaining to UAPs, whatever they might be, the origins. I mean, if you have a understanding of what Enoch was talking about, kind of makes sense.
The really old stuff is very strange.
The Orthodox, I'm telling you, the Ethiopian Orthodox Bible, I actually had a staffer that went to Ethiopia. She was on a church trip, and she actually brought me back a copy, and she's like, you can translate it via Google Translation, so kudos to modern day technology. So I have it in my office, and actually when I did my swearing in, I actually did my swearing in on the Ethiopian Orthodox Bible.
Wow.
It's cool. It's direct translation.
That's kind of crazy. This is nuts.
I think we're probably going to be responsible for the Book of Enoch sales probably increasing on Amazon.
Well, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to buy it. I need to read it now.
You'll trip out if you read Enoch and then follow about the fall of mankind and the angels with, and this is Christian theology, right? So angels came down, rebelled against God, interbred with humankind. That would be, I think, a good starting point for what potentially the Anunnaki were.
If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
I've been into the Book of Enoch over the last couple of months.
I was wanting to pull that up. I was wanting to talk about that.
So Rep. Lima came in here and she was explaining to me the Book of Enoch, and I never really got into it. She's like, it could have been included in the Bible, and it was a part of the Dead Sea Scrolls, but
the first half was, right?
The Book of Enoch is in the Dead Sea Scrolls.
The whole book?
Yeah.
Oh.
And the at least part. It's the problem with the Book of the Dead Sea Scrolls. Rather, it's a lot of it is deteriorated and it's missing chunks and stuff. But
yeah.
The Book of Isaiah is in the Dead Sea Scrolls, and it is identical word for word. Wes Huff was explaining that to a version of it that was 1,000 years older, which was the most recent version before they found the Dead Sea Scrolls in the 1940s, which is wild.
That is wild. That's the book that God predicts his own coming to earth and his own death and all that.
Well, the Book of Enoch is the one that predicts that this is what talks about the Watchers in the sky, and that these gods mate with humans and created the Nephilim. Yep. That is bizarre.
Well,
I've listened to it twice now, and I keep going back over it and just rewinding and going, what are they saying? Like, what were they trying to describe? Because this sounds completely insane.
When you get into like because isn't there like Egyptian stuff where there's like men coming down from space and like
stargates? There's all sorts of weird shit.
That to me is just like fallen angels. You know, it's all kind of lining up in some kind of way or another. These whatever rebelled against God and came down here, men from the sky came down here and were pretty much posing as gods and demanding people worship them. And isn't Enoch where they teach them about money and teach them about
sorcery
and
sorcery and agriculture and metallurgy? There's all sorts of like weird, they talk about incantations. And then, like, how to get out of incantations if one gets put on you. It's like,
and you got to think this is pre-Jesus, and so God is separated from man. So we're just walking around as people, like not knowing what's going on. And these things come down, and they're boring giants and stuff. It's like, you know, I'd probably think it's a god too, for God's sakes, you know, because there wasn't. What was the Jews even a thing when the Book of Enoch was written?
Sure, yeah. They were
God's chosen people.
The people that argued over whether or not the Book of Enoch should be included in the canon were rabbis.
Yeah.
It's all so confusing.
Is there any explanation of why it would be left out?
Well, they felt like it didn't jive with the Torah. I think that's the reason why it was left out.
Well, I mean, when I say that, like at one point, the Jews were God's chosen people, is like they knew the God, the one, the I am, the one true God, but the rest of the world didn't really know what was going on, and so they were worshiping other gods, and so like aside from the Jews, the rest of humanity seeing these things walking around, it's like I'm sure they would think that's a god. You know, I'm sure they would worship that. What else do they have to believe?
Also, before you start doubting his words, the 87-year-old Eshed was clear in his recent interview with Yediot Ahronot News that he's not talking about immigration, but rather about a galactic federation complete with an underground base on Mars, where there are American and alien representatives apparently present. He also explains that President Trump both knows about them and was on the verge of disclosing their existence, only to be persuaded not to by the Federation, in order to avoid mass hysteria and panic here on Earth. Apparently, humanity just still has a long way to grow before we can understand the gravity of their presence. The final question, however, is what do they want? But perhaps thankfully for us, Eshed says that it's essentially just to research and understand the fabric of the universe.
Maybe the movie was ahead of its time because a new study says that this could be true. We're not making this up. A study has been conducted by researchers at the Harvard University, and they say aliens may be walking among humans as humans. Researchers have three hypotheses. First, aliens have come from a different time period or planet. Second, they have evolved on Earth, but separately from humans. And third, they come from an ancient civilization that was not completely destroyed. The study also says that aliens possibly function out of a secret location. They could be living underground or in multiple regions on Earth that Gen Z would probably call sus, meaning suspicious.
Harvard University's Human Flourishing Program speculates UFOs may be spaceships visiting alien friends planted right here on Earth, that is. Those aliens then are disguised as humans trying to fit in. Study examines 4 different alien theories, including technologically advanced ancient human civilization, plus ETs from the future. The study says aliens could either live among us, underground, or inside the moon.
Inside.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what to do with that.
Wow.
And the video was interesting, though. They were just at the beach, all those aliens.
You just saw the beach.
They're living among us.
Yep, they are. And I want to say a happy Alien Dad's Day, because I'm sure there's like dads, right, that are aliens that are out there.
Why not?
Sure.
But the goal here is not to unsettle scientists. It is to ask questions, because aliens are having a moment. Over the past few years, pilots say they have seen extraterrestrial beings. The Pentagon has a new office to look into sightings. Governments have held hearings. NASA has gotten involved, and UFOs have been rebranded. They're no longer called unidentified flying objects, or UFOs. They're now unidentified anomalous phenomena.
Oh, fuck.
So far, so complicated. But the thing is, despite the shebang, we still don't know enough about aliens. So the study means to take the discussion forward. It wants to ask questions about unidentified observations made around the world every year.
That's wild. Freaking UFOs. There's a lot of them out there, man. And that's no joke. All right, let me see where we're at. Okay, I think, you know what? We're going to go straight to Jason De La Cruz and then wrap it up. Because I'm getting tired. It's the weekend. I'm starting to feel the storm. Like, my body's hurting a lot. Like, seriously, like a lot of pain in my body. And it's from the damn storm that's coming. And I could just feel it. It just sucks. So let's go straight to Tyson De La Cruz. Let me wrap it up. And then I'll see if I could come on maybe for a little bit tomorrow. I'm not sure. I was going to take tomorrow off and come back on Sunday because I'm going to a friend's house to do like a cookout, and I'm going to spend my evening there. So I'm not planning on coming back early. So I'm not going to do a show tomorrow. So enjoy your Saturdays. Everyone needs to enjoy their weekend, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get it ready. And let's watch Tyson De La Cruz.
Federal and local authorities have conducted a series of raids in San Pedro, targeting members and also associates of the Mexican mafia.
America, we just witnessed something that should have happened decades ago. Federal agents and LAPD just took down the leadership of the Rancho San Pedro gang, a 500-member criminal enterprise that has been terrorizing communities for over 50 years. We're talking about a multi-generational crime syndicate with direct ties to the Mexican mafia that was running drugs, guns, extortion, and murder operations right under the nose of California's quote-unquote so-called leadership. But here's what's gonna make your blood boil. This gang has been operating since the 1970s, and it took until 2025 to finally cut off the head of this monster.
Today marks an important day in basically cutting off the head of the Hydra, of one of the most violent street gangs that has been terrorizing San Pedro for years.
What is up, guys? Tyson De La Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. This operation is exactly what happens when you finally have leadership that prioritizes American citizens over political correctness. But it also exposes the complete failure of California's Democratic leadership for the past 5 decades. Let me break down what federal agents just dismantled. The Rancho San Pedro gang isn't just some neighborhood troublemakers. This is a sophisticated criminal corporation with 500 members that's been operating like a business since the 1970s. Think about that for a second. This gang has been destroying communities for over 50 years, while California politicians did absolutely nothing.
The LAPD, Homeland Security Investigations, and the FBI served search warrants at 17 locations early this morning, taking 8 of 13 men and women into custody, members of the Rancho San Pedro gang, or RSP. The other 5 were already in custody on state charges.
This wasn't some small-time operation either. When federal agents hit 17 locations across San Pedro and the Harbor region, here's what they found: multiple firearms, ghost gun parts, that's untraceable weapons, fentanyl that's poisoning and killing Americans every single day, and drug paraphernalia from distribution operations.
9 firearms were seized, along with the tools to make ghost guns and drugs like fentanyl, methamphetamine, and marijuana. Officials say some of the people arrested also engaged in robbery and extortion to make money for the gang.
But here's the part that should absolutely infuriate you. This gang operates like a corporation, complete with board of directors, except for their board is the Mexican mafia, and their business model is terror, drugs, and violence. Let's talk about the elephant in the room that California politicians don't want to address. These criminals were literally paying taxes to the Mexican mafia for protection. We're talking about a sophisticated criminal network network where gang leaders in prison were issuing orders for drug distribution, firearms transactions, extortion, robbery, and even murder contracts.
Some would use orders from prison on behalf of the Mexican mafia. These orders include the collection of taxes, drug distribution, firearms, transfers, and decisions about who held what positions within the RSP. Others committed or conspired to commit acts of violence, including murder.
Here's what should make your blood boil. Gang leaders were issuing orders from prison. Think about that for a second. These criminals were supposedly being punished by being locked up, but they were still running their criminal enterprise from behind bars. This proves that our prison system has completely been compromised.
Authorities allege the Rancho San Pedro gang has an estimated 500 members, dates back to the 1970s, and is controlled by the Mexican mafia members incarcerated in state prison.
The Mexican mafia doesn't just collect taxes from gangs, they provide protection, coordination, and strategic direction. This means San Pedro wasn't just dealing with local criminals, they were dealing with an international criminal network operating on American soil. 13 defendants are facing federal RICO charges. That's racketeering, influenced, and corruption organization. For those of you that don't know, RICO is what's used to take down organized crime families, cartels, and criminal enterprises. The fact that they're using RICO tells you everything you need to know about how sophisticated and dangerous this operation was.
They're accused of being an organized crime criminal enterprise. Rancho San Pedro gang leadership, according to investigators, is who was taken into custody this morning.
These aren't just gang members. They were running a criminal corporation with drug trafficking operations, extortion rackets, firearm trafficking, murder conspiracies, assault conspiracies, and robbery operations.
It is unusual for a RICO indictment in an LAPD-led investigation, but it sends a powerful message to those organized criminal gangs that we will use all resources available to address the criminal element in the city, especially here in the San Pedro area.
District Attorney Nathan Holcomb called this cutting off the head of Hydra, and that is exactly right. But here's the question that nobody's asking. How did this Hydra get so big in the first place? This gang has been operating since the 1970s. That means that they've been terrorizing San Pedro families for over 50 years, while California's Democratic leadership did absolutely nothing. Multiple generations of families have lived in fear because politicians were more concerned with being quote unquote progressive than protecting innocent people.
I do hope that this investigation also serves as a warning to anybody who may be interested in filling the gap for this particular gang, especially to our young kids who unfortunately we're still seeing a rash of young people being sucked into the gang life.
For over 50 years, families in San Pedro have had to live with children who couldn't even play outside safely. Business owners paying extortion money, residents afraid to walk in their own streets, drug dealers operating openly in neighborhoods, and violence that could erupt at any moment.
Do you think it makes a difference?
Yes, I believe so. Yes. I mean, I do feel safer, but I've been all my life.
All of this could have been prevented if California's leadership had prioritized public safety over political correctness decades ago. Notice who actually took action here. Federal agents working with LAPD, not California state government, not the progressive politicians who've been running Los Angeles into the ground. It took federal intervention to finally address the problem that's been festering for decades.
But the even better news is that the FBI, the HSI, the Los Angeles Police Department, the U.S. Attorney's Office, the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office, the California Department of Justice, and our other federal, state, and local law enforcement partners are not yet finished.
This is exactly what President Trump has been talking about. When local and state leadership fails to protect their citizens, the federal government has to step in and do the job that they won't.
We are relentless. It might take weeks, months, or years, but these folks will ultimately be brought to justice.
A multi-year investigation culminates in a pre-dawn takedown.
The timing is no coincidence. This operation happened under the renewed focus on law enforcement. After years of the defund the police rhetoric and soft on crime policies, we're finally seeing real action against organized criminal enterprises. Listen to what residents are saying now that this criminal organization has been dismantled.
Growing up, yes, they were an issue. Ever since I've been back, I've seen a change in the community for sure. And especially with this going on, I feel even better, greater change is going to happen.
This resident grew up in San Pedro and joined the military to get away from gangs. Now he's moved back after 10 years and can see the positive change happening in his community.
I'm all for it, taking down. I don't believe in gang violence. I don't believe in them selling illegal drugs. So I'm all for it.
This is what happens when law enforcement is allowed to do their job without political interference. Communities can finally breathe again. America, the San Pedro gang takedown is a victory for law enforcement and the communities that have suffered under this criminal organization for decades. But it's also an indictment of the failed policies that allowed this situation to develop in the first place. When you prioritize criminals over victims, when you focus on social justice over actual justice, when you handcuff law enforcement instead of criminals, this is what you get. Criminal enterprise is so powerful, they require federal RICO prosecution to stop. The good news is that we have leadership that's willing to take on these criminal organizations. The bad news is that there's probably dozens of similar operations across the country that have allowed to grow unchecked for decades. San Pedro is just one example of what's happening across the country. For years, Democratic-controlled cities have allowed criminal organizations to operate with impunity while focusing on social justice initiatives instead of actual justice. It's time to clean house, and San Pedro is just the beginning. The message is clear. The days of tolerating criminal organizations are over. Whether you're a street gang, a cartel, or an international crime syndicate, if you're operating in American communities, you're going to face the full extent of federal law enforcement. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
Great upload. He's slick because he knew I was about to get off, and he uploaded a video. He uploaded a video. You know what that means? We got a back-to-back Tyson de la Cruz tonight. So sit back, relax. There's extra time. So we're at overtime tonight. Let's go ahead and watch this episode of Tyson de la Cruz.
The top three names, it is Ronald Johnson, it is Terry Cole, and it is Kash Patel. It clearly knows, and the cartel clearly knows that they're getting hit really bad.
America, we need to talk about something that happened this week that should have every single one of you paying attention. A Mexican cartel did something unprecedented. They put up banners in Los Cabos, a major tourist destination, threatening to kill our FBI director by name. Not just by threatening, they're putting bounties on the heads of top federal law enforcement officials. But here's what mainstream media won't tell you. This isn't a sign of cartel strength. This is pure desperation, and it tells us everything we need to know about what Trump policies are actually accomplishing.
Desperation because they can't tell.
What is up, guys? Tyson de la Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. This story is absolutely wild, and when you understand what's really happening behind the scenes, you'll see why cartels are lashing out like cornered animals. Let me break down exactly what happened because the details matter. On October 5th, 2025, Los Chapos, Mexico, this is where Americans vacation, where they retire, where they quote-unquote feel safe. At 3 a.m., cartel members hung banners throughout the city with a hit list of American officials.
Breaking news. A cartel banner was discovered in Los Cabos, Baja California Sur, reportedly signed by La Chapitza, a fraction of the Sinaloa cartel linked to Los Chapos.
Now listen to these names carefully. FBI Director Kash Patel, DEA Head Terry Cole, and U.S. Ambassador to Mexico Ronald Johnson. These aren't random names. These are three people who have been systematically dismantling cartel operations, and the cartels know exactly who's hurting them.
The top three names on this banner, it is concerning. There's two things that are concerning.
But here's what really gets me fired up. They didn't just threaten our officials. They threatened every American citizen in Los Chapos. The banner said, and I quote, every American citizen who resides in Cabo San Lucas, San Jose del Cabo is being targeted. And we are the ones who call the shots, and we are the ones in charge. Think about that for a second. Mexican cartels are now openly threatening American civilians on Mexican soil because our government is finally doing its job. This is what happens when you actually enforce law enforcement instead of playing patty cake with drug dealers. Now, the mainstream media is probably going to spin this in some kind of failure. Trump's policies are making things worse. That's completely, absolutely garbage. That is exactly what winning looks like in the short term, and here's why. When you systematically destroy a criminal organization's business model, they don't just disappear quietly. They lash out like a crazy ex-girlfriend. They make threats, they get desperate, and that is exactly what we're seeing here.
Just a couple of days ago, it was reported by the Department of Treasury that 12 companies were discovered and they're on the loop and they are going to be shut down because they were providing precursors in substances, illegal substances.
You heard that right. The Treasury Department just exposed 12 companies that were supplying chemicals to make fentanyl. These weren't small operations. These were legitimate businesses providing raw materials for massive fentanyl production. And the banner appeared the next few days after this announcement. The cartels are getting hit where it hurts them most, in their paquitos, with their money. Fentanyl production is being disrupted. Gun shipments from El Paso are being intercepted. Their laboratories are being confiscated, and their political protection is being exposed. This banner isn't a show of strength. It is a temper tantrum. It is what happens when billion-dollar criminal enterprises realize their business model is being systematically destroyed. But here's something that should concern every American about these threats: the level of detail these cartels have about our operations. They know exactly who's running the show. They have names, positions, and operational details.
This cartel banner came up. And, the most concerning thing about it is that on the top 3 names, you don't see the Mexican president.
Oscar Ramirez makes a crucial point here. The Mexican president isn't even in the top 3 targets. The cartels know that the real pressure is coming from American law enforcement, not Mexican corrupt politicians. That tells you 2 things. First, the corruption in the Mexican government runs deep that these cartels don't even see Mexican officials as a threat. Second, our operations are so effective that we're the primary target. This level of intelligence means the cartels have sources inside the Mexican government, possibly inside our own operations. When criminal organizations put together detailed lists of American officials, that is a national security problem that goes far beyond drug trafficking. The fact that they specifically mentioned stopping laboratory seizures and gun trafficking tells us exactly what operations are working. They're not complaining about the things that don't hurt them. This threat didn't happen in a vacuum. It's part of a broader pattern of desperation we're seeing from the cartels as Trump policies are taking effect. Remember, under Biden, these cartels grew unprecedented power. They were making billions and billions of dollars off of fentanyl trafficking, human smuggling, and gun running. And they had political protection, operational freedom, and a business model that seemed quote unquote untouchable. Now we're watching their revenue streams getting cut off one by one. Fentanyl seizures are up, border crossings are down, political allies are getting their visas revoked and facing investigation.
Well, they don't have no other choice. The tariff, the tariff, the 25% tariff that it was implemented on the Trump administration on the Mexican government.
The 25% tariff threat worked. Mexico is now actively cooperating with American border security in ways that we haven't seen in decades. The National Guard of Mexico is working with our National Guard in the United States. Illegal crossings have basically virtually stopped. But here's what the media won't tell you. The cooperation comes after a cost. When you force corrupt Mexican officials to choose between American economic pressure and cartel threats, some of them are going to get desperate, and desperate people do dangerous things. Now, here's something that should terrify every American. Oscar Ramirez points out that Antifa is copying cartel tactics. They're using the same intimidation strategies, the same targeted threats, and the same operational methods.
Antifa, it is copy-pasting what the cartel it is doing in Mexico. Immediately, Antifa, needs to be designated as a terrorist organization immediately, and the American authorities need to act immediately.
This isn't a coincidence. When you have Mexican cartels openly threatening American officials and domestic terrorist groups adopting the same tactics, you look at a coordinated assault on American law enforcement. The cartels are testing our resolve. They want to see if threatening our FBI director will make us back down. They want to know if targeting American civilians will force us to change our policies. But here's one thing. If we show weakness now, if we let these cartel influence our operations, every terrorist organization in the world will take note. This isn't just about drug policy. This is about whether America will be intimidated by criminal organizations. What does the cartel banner really tell us? 3 things in my opinion. First, Trump's border and drug policies are working. You don't threaten people unless they're hurting you. The fact that the cartels are desperate enough to put bounties on FBI directors means our operations are devastating their business model. Second, we're in a dangerous transition period. When you corner dangerous animals, they become completely unpredictable. The cartels are going to lash out and they're going to make some threats, and they might even try to follow through with some of them. Third, this is bigger than just drug trafficking. This is about whether criminal organizations organizations can intimidate the United States government. If we back down now, every cartel, every terrorist group, every enemy of America will know that threats work. The question isn't whether these threats are serious. They absolutely are. The question is whether we have the resolve to continue operations that are clearly working, even if criminals try to intimidate us. Here's something else that we need to talk about. The Mexican government's response to this threat. They removed the banners quickly to prevent quote unquote panic, but what are they really doing to protect American citizens? When cartels can hang bounty posters in major tourist destinations at 3 a.m. without being caught, that tells you everything you need to know about Mexican law enforcement capabilities. Either they're incompetent, or they're complicit, or corrupt. The fact that these banners appeared immediately after the Treasury Department announced suggests that cartels have real intelligence about American operations. The intelligence is coming from somewhere, and it's probably not from an American source. This puts the Mexican government in an impossible situation. They need American economic cooperation, but they also have to deal with cartels that have threatened their officials and their economy. Some Mexican politicians are going to choose the cartels over America, and we need to be prepared for that. America, this cartel threat against our FBI director isn't just a law enforcement issue. It is a test of American resolve. These criminal organizations want to know if they can intimidate us into backing down from policies that are clearly working. And the answer is absolutely not. When cartels threaten American officials, when they target American civilians, when they try to dictate American policies through intimidation, our response should be double down on the operation that are hurting them the most. This is why elections matter. This is why having leaders who understand that strength prevents war, not causing it, matters. The previous administration let these cartels grow to unprecedented power. Now we're seeing what it takes to actually fight back. But we need to understand that this fight is far from over. The cartels are desperate, which means that makes them dangerous. They have intelligence sources, financial resources, and operational capabilities that rival some national states. The good news is that desperation means that we're winning. The bad news is that desperate criminals do desperate things. We need to stay vigilant, stay informed, and support the law enforcement officials who are putting their lives on the line to dismantle these organizations. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
Awesome episode. Man. Makes you wonder, because these cartels, they're starting to have a hard time now. They got used to Biden. They love Biden because they were bringing so much into this country. So much is in this country already, and the fact that it's like coming to a crashing halt, and you can't send to your like number one client, like it's gonna hurt the whole drug business, and. The war on drug, they were like, oh, the war on drug, that shit was never gonna work, because these countries, they're all bought off, they're all bought off by the cartels, and if you're not with them, like, they'll kill you and your family, and it's like, it's kind of like, it's horrible. But the fact that Trump is like, I don't give a fuck about those motherfuckers. It's like, yo, Trump has missiles that he could just say, look, I can send them from right here, watch. Beep. And shoot somebody's like whole operation down. That's wild. But I'm getting off of here. I'm getting sleepy. I'm like really tired. But I hope you had a good night. It's Friday night, so we should be feeling all right. And let's enjoy the weekend. I'm not sure if I'm gonna come on tomorrow. I'm definitely be here Friday on Sunday for a Sunday show. I'll definitely be on here. Hopefully I can bring on Seven. Seven can be a part of the show. And just keep it cool, keep it fun, relax. You made it to another weekend, and enjoy life, right? You gotta enjoy life, and have a good morning, a good afternoon, and a good night. And I'll catch you on the flip side. And I'll see y'all tomorrow, okay? And yeah, I don't know what else to tell you guys. Just have a good smoke on me. Peace.